it's Johnny V from Smashbox TV. Our Worlds coverage starts this Friday at 9:30 Eastern with the full FPO coverage. Then a short break, and we're giving you full MPO coverage. That's 2 full rounds per day. And each day that we're live broadcasting, we're going to be giving away over $500 in prizes. And all you need to do to be eligible is click the Super Chat button right beneath the chat. Every dollar you give to Smashbox TV will give you 1 entry into the drawing. So if you give $60, that's 60 entries. And we've got prizes from Black Ink Discs, Disc Golf Center, Infinite Discs, Keen Shoes, Dynamic Discs, Dude Clothing, Will Shoestrick of Disc Golf Instruction. So join us on Smashbox TV's YouTube channel to be part of the broadcast.
Corey here for the PDGA, and we're back again, this time with Round 4 coverage from the 2018 PDGA World Championships.
Greg Barsby.
Your leader entering Round 1, Greg Barsby, would look to continue his push towards his first World Championship. Hole 1, though, would find trouble right off the bat. A quick kick to the right would set up this tough upshot, but well executed and able to put in the putt to save par. Clean after that, it was hole 4 where he drains the huge putt, and it was off from there. Another big one here on hole 7. But maybe the most impressive shot of the day, Greg's drive on 11, getting it all the way pin high left side. Ooh, the aggressive run doesn't pay off, but is able to catch the comebacker. And another one here on hole 12 to keep the ball rolling. Greg would build up a sizable lead in the middle of the round, but oh no, hole 15 does find the kick off the island. The upshot from the drop zone, not ideal, but able to put down the bogey save. Not as hot of a round as Greg would have liked, but he's got a game plan heading into Sunday.
Just try to stay off of bogeys. I think that was my 6th bogey of the tournament there on 15. So it's 6 too many. But, you know, try not to add any more to it. Obviously, it's the last round. It's going to be a shootout. I think Conrad jumped up there. He's a couple back as well. Right. So all the guys are 2 back of me, and it's really just 1 shot on that course. So.
You heard Greg mention him, James Conrad, absolutely at home in the woods, looking to make his push towards lead card on Sunday. A great tee shot, sets up the uncharacteristic miss from James. But on hole 4, puts down a big one to get it back on track. But on hole 5, would find a bit more trouble. The tough kick out of bounds has to settle with the unfortunate bogey.
The putter was feeling good. I missed one that I wouldn't have liked to miss on hole 1. I was maybe just outside or right about on the line of the circle, and that might have fired me up a little bit. I pretty much was able to connect on just about everything else I was looking at, so that was a lot of fun to be hitting just about everything.
Hitting just about everything is right. This huge putt on 13, bending it around the trees, would set the pace for the rest of the round. It looked like all the momentum was in his favor until 15. A misrelease off the tee, and he is out of bounds from the tough up zone, but the perfect JK AVR shot sets him up for the easy tap-in 4, and he was off to the races. Birdieing 16, 17, and here on 18, throwing the MD4 on that force-over line right next to the bucket. James would finish 10 down, 1 stroke off the hot round of the day, and firmly in a tie for second place for Sunday. Tied with James in second place, 2 men duking it out on the lead card, Paul Ulibarri and Josh Anton. Superseding the likes of Paul Macbeth and Ricky Wysocki, Josh Anton's putter was dialed all day. But so was Yuli's. He would be cruising until hole 9, finding trouble off the tee, and here on hole 10, reduced to the flick roller out of the woods, getting a little bit squirrely, unfortunately bogeying both 9 and 10. Would get back on track here on 14 though, and here on 16, cashing the long one. He would birdie 5 out of the last 7 holes to move him to 6 down overall, and in that aforementioned tie. Hot Round of the Day award goes to Nate Perkins, who came in with a smoking hot 11 down with an official rating of 1078. That is good to put him on chase card and on film for the final round. We asked Nate his thoughts on becoming a chase card champ.
It sounds amazing. I mean, a name like myself, it's, some would call it like a Cinderella story if something like that were to happen, but I believe in myself, and I know I have a lot of people who love me and believe in me, so I feel like I can make it happen.
Flipping it over to the FPO side, Paige Bjerkes entered the day with 5 strokes to spare, and she would need them all early. Turning this one over off the tee on 1, going out of bounds, and this uncharacteristic turnover off the drop zone, coupled with a missed putt, and that is a double bogey 6 to start.
Say hole 1 was nerves, absolutely. Hole 2, I don't know, just didn't hit the fairway, but hole 3 was bad luck. My drive was kind of low, and I just hit a tree and it kicked me right OB. And then I laid up my next shot and it stood up and rolled all the way down the hill, OB. Pitched my putt up, took a 6. So, I mean, it was nerves on hole 1, and I would say bad luck on hole 3.
Tied after that, she would stabilize from there. Here she is throwing her beautiful upshot on the par 4 hole 4. And it was hole 7 that would define the round. Sarah Holcomb here turning her second shot over into the out of bounds. Her 4th shot turned over again into the out of bounds. And her 5th shot hyzers right out of bounds. That is going to be a 9 and a 6 stroke advantage for Paige Bjerkes. She would not let up either. Here she is on 13, sending out a beautiful shot and an even better putt. With strokes to spare at the end, she got flashy and almost throws one in, settling with the tap-in par. With Paige Pierce within striking distance, we asked Bjerkes her plan to prepare for the biggest round of her career.
No idea. I'll probably do some putting tonight since I missed so many shorties. But again, stick to the game plan. I mean, Paige played great and she shot 2 under, and my goal's even. So if I can shoot even tomorrow and she shoots 2 under, I still win. So again, stick to the game plan.
No game plan is safe though when Pierce is on, as she made up 7 strokes during Saturday's moving day and sits poised to take Bjerkes to the limit as a veteran presence who's been here before.
I think a lot of people handle pressure different ways, and Paige hasn't necessarily felt a whole lot of that yet. She's had a lot of strong finishes lately, so she's starting to experience more and more of that. But this is the highest stage that we play on, and so I think to have already done it 4 times, I have a slight advantage in that aspect of the mental game coming down the stretch. But so yeah, I'm just going to try to keep pushing and see what happens. All I can do is just shoot my best and try to stay in bounds and kind of go from there.
Taking a look at our round 4 leaders here, we find Paige Bjerkes with a 5-stroke separation over Paige Pierce, but that feels like nothing on a big, power-friendly course like Fox Run Meadows. Paige sits 3 strokes over Sarah Holcomb, who sits 2 strokes over Rebecca Cox, and 3 strokes over Zoe Andyke. Jessica Weiss, Natalie Holokoi, Madison Walker, Lisa Fakis, and Kristen Tatar make up the rest of the top 10 and will battle for position going into our final round. Setting the stage for an epic conclusion, our MPO leaderboard reads Greg Barsby's name at the top. 2 strokes separates him with James Conrad, Josh Anton, and Paul Ulibarri all tied at 33 under par, with Matty O, Matt Oram 2 strokes behind them. But Paul McBeth lurks. That same lead is in the FPO division. 5 strokes separates Paul McBeth from his 5th title. Hard to count him out. Nate Perkins slides into chase card with that 11 under round 4, sitting at 29 under for the tournament, tied with Seppo Payu and a stroke ahead of Andrew Presnell. Kayla Visca and Nicola Castro sit tied in 10th, 25 under par. Thank you for watching all week, and please join us live on Sunday for the final round action, as well as post-produced videos by Jomez Pro and Central Coast Disc Golf.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Championship Sunday here at the 2018 PDGA Professional Disc Golf World Championships. Terry Miller along with Robert McCall. And Robert, we're gearing up for a very exciting MPO final round, but you just got off the course where a teammate of yours and someone that you're very close to and work with, Paige Bjerkes, crowned our FPO World Champion.
Yeah.
Let's start with, how does she feel? How do you feel like she's feeling right now?
Elated, over the moon. I heard her talking about it in an interview afterwards. And she said, this is my dream. Like, this is what I've been dreaming about since I started playing disc golf. And to get to see that realized in person was just really, really cool. She made a game plan, not a super conservative one, but a fairly conservative one, and just stuck to it and executed it really well today. She said her goal coming into today was to shoot even par, and that's what she accomplished. So congratulations to Paige Bjerkes. Huge shout to Paige Pierce, who definitely made it interesting shooting that 2 under yesterday. And she was pushing early, just found a little bit of OB early on. And Little Paige, as we call her sometimes, just played really steady and got the W. It was really, really cool to see out there.
It was amazing. We're so excited. We had a record-breaking attendance here watching live on Smashbox TV. It was exciting for me. It was exciting for Hannah, watching the FPO division just unfold the way it did throughout the entire week. And we're just honored that we could have any piece of it. So let me ask you now, as a team manager over at Dynamic Disc, knowing that we were going into today, more than likely one or the other Paige was going to be crowned world champion. How does that feel for you, for the team, and you as a, representing a manufacturer?
I'm elated as well, right? My job as a team manager is just to make sure that we have the right people on the team, the people who are going to represent our interests as best as we can. And those 2 individuals, Paige Pierce and Paige Bjerkes, are both fantastic people. And if either of them hadn't have come out on top, I would still be so proud of both of them and our entire team who's competing at this event. So it's always great to get wins. Everyone likes to celebrate wins, but I'm proud of the people that we have on our team. And it was really cool to see, Paige Bjerkes, she's going back and forth on whether she was going to go back to school or not this next semester, decided to take the semester off and tour. And ultimately, at least I would say that proved to be a good decision.
Well, I think she's, I heard that as well as we wrapped up with her. She was saying that she's still taking her online classes here in the fall, but she, if you would have asked her a few months ago, she was completely undecided where she was going or what she was doing. And she said, there was a chance that I wouldn't even be here. And now you fast forward to today, and now she's crowned a world champion.
Right. And I am going to be looking for my cut of the winner's check.
As you
we haven't negotiated percentages yet, but we'll find that soon.
Well, and the support mechanism that's out there, the collective Frisbee family, her immediate family, and her mom and her dad, but then all of the Dynamic Disc family, yourself included, and everyone else. It was easy to get choked up or excited about as it was taking place out there. The vibe, Doug and Noemi, what was some of the vibe from them?
They are just as proud as could be. Paige Bjerkes has been playing disc golf since she could walk, pretty much. And Doug in Colorado would take her out to local leagues and minis, and she would play well there. And everybody knew that she could play for a long time. And this year, she's kind of taken the time to get a little bit more serious about it. And just to see her hard work pay off was really cool. And for her parents to be there, for her mom, Noemi, to be on the bag all week, Doug doing the UDisc live scoring all week. I told him he scored her to victory.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah. Great contributor.
Yes.
But yeah, the support, like you said, from her parents. And then I just love getting to see so many of our Team DD members and then employees out there walking with the players. It's just this is one of my favorite things to do all year is come to Worlds, come to the big events, and just get to support our team as they do their job out there.
Well, she did it more effectively than anyone else. Congratulations yet again, Paige Bjerkes, your 2018 world champion.
That's nuts.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
A 21-year-old that will forever have that title to her name. She's, won the World Junior Championships a number of years ago, but to be 21 and on top of the world, just so impressive. And was there there had to be a talk. Her middle name is Muggsy?
Muggs Marie.
It's Muggs Marie.
That's her
okay.
2 middle names.
So she wins at Smugs Resort.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Zach Melton took a picture of her covering up the S in Smugs, and it just said Muggs at Smugs. I mean, it was basically meant to be.
Yeah, it sounds like it was. Well, it looks like we're going to be getting over to some of the action here. The action, I should rephrase that, is hole number 1. We've got our lead card, and they're going to be coming at us here in just a few moments. Greg Barsby, of course, your leader here. Barsby sitting on a 2-stroke advantage. And getting the green flag as we open up on hole number 1.
Looked like he pulled that a bit to the right for him, but as a proficient forehand thrower, he's not upset with the right side of the fairway at all. That gives him a good angle into the basket. James Conrad's drive is working beautifully down the fairway. Wow, he's beat all the Guardian trees. He'll have a wide open look at this basket to get up and down for his birdie 3. That is biting off a lot on the tee shot, and that makes this whole play significantly easier.
And with an attempt at giving you a little bit better signal and detailed coverage, we're going to be bringing you a second camera here momentarily. Looks like there was a challenge as we were getting in preparation for the round. We certainly didn't want to hold up our players, so of course we'll get back at you with both of the cameras, and that'll be coming in soon. Right now we're at the catch cam in the middle of hole 1's fairway, and here's Paul Ulibarri.
Paul's drive is low and skipping toward the Guardian trees. That's not a bad spot. He may have one tree in between himself and the basket, but nothing he shouldn't be able to navigate.
As they walk it in, we're going to take a moment and recognize one of our supporting sponsors.
For me, it's time with my friends.
For me, it's a walk in the park.
For me, it's my job.
For me, it's fun.
Looks like we have Paul Ulibarri lining up his forehand approach shot here on 1.
Ulibarri has executed beautifully. He's put himself inside 20 feet for his look at a birdie 3.
Oh, and that looks to, oh my goodness, Robert, is that going to be inbounds or not?
That, just to clarify, our players are playing the inside of the stakes as the out of bounds line here. It looks as if that will be out of bounds, but it's hard to tell from our perspective. Spotter is going over to give it a look.
Well, and the spotter's getting right to it to bust out the string, which is an interesting call because ultimately it'll be left up to the group. And the spotter,
hopefully he's just going to lay it down and leave it.
Oh my gosh, look at it from the inside. Yeah, you're exactly right. Hopefully he'll just leave that string. I'm sure he will. It looks like he really knows what he's doing and very diligent in doing so. Huge props to him. That looks like that's going to be out of bounds by less than 2 inches.
Barsby's approach is good, putting him inside 10 feet.
Here's Josh Anton from the middle of circle 2.
Anton strikes right out of the gate.
Cans it. I know I referenced it yesterday, and he reaffirmed last night. I saw Steve Rico at Fall Fest, and he again confirmed and guaranteed that Josh Anton was going to win this tournament. He may or may not have put down a very sizable wager on that exact thing. Not against me. I would not have taken any such bet.
Right.
I have all the faith in the world that any of these top 4 competitors, or even from our chase card, could possibly come up and grab this championship. But Josh Anton, shots fired on the first hole. Huge putt on hole number 1.
We see James Conrad, after scooting what looks to be out of bounds, will be putting for par from circle 1. Conrad's par attempt is up and in.
We'll continue to keep an eye on all the scores, of course, from the chase card and beyond. Quickly, I wanted to update you that Matt Oram is 3 down through the first 4 holes and has already moved into a momentary tie for second.
Ulibarri is in for his birdie. We see Barsby tapping in for par here. His lead is now diminished to just 1 throw over Josh Anton, Paul Ulibarri, and Matt Oram.
Let's take a look at hole number 2, Robert. Or first, we'll come back and say hello to everyone. Hey. Myself, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, along with Robert McCall. As we are getting everything in position, it looks like our second camera has decided to play along with us. And unfortunately, we don't have 3 or 4 or 5 additional cameras. People are already chattering, saying, hey, we'd like to see Chase card. Well, we're going to go ahead. We're going to stick with this card as long as we can. If something crazy is happening on the chase card, we might be able to peel one person off and take a look and see what's going on. But right now, of course, we're going to be staying with our lead card. We're going to have throw and catch action throughout the rest of the round. And super excited for how this is going to go down.
100%. And we are on hole 2. This is the 12th most difficult hole on the course, so 7th easiest. I would have thought it would be a little bit easier relative to par, but right now it's playing at a 2.77 scoring average. Josh Anton just making this hole look easy. He's beating the boulder in the middle of the fairway. He will likely find himself inside circle 1. Ulibarri looks like he's taking maybe a stand-up mid-range on a forehand down the middle here. And that's pulled left and hit an early tree. He'll be in a bit of trouble for his look at par. Current leader Greg Barsby's drive is down the middle of the gap and moving a bit right. There are some trees over there that would block his opportunity at a birdie putt if he's traveled far enough to find them. On the tee will be James Conrad after carding his par on hole 1. Conrad's AVR is left early and is kicked in farther left.
We're going to move down the fairway and catch up with him from the left side.
Swirly vultures.
Yuli from an outstretched stance to his right. He's got the forehand. Looks like it carried almost all the way to circle 1, maybe just inside of it.
Yeah, he's going to give himself an opportunity to save par. This is really the trouble that you can find on hole 2, and it's the trouble that most people do find. Just these trees on the left are sparsely placed enough that you can find areas where there's almost no lane out. So Ulibarri did well to get even close to the green from where he was sitting. James Conrad throwing a long jump putt approach to the basket. Nestling up nicely, he will be saving his par here on hole 2.
We know Josh Anthon's friends and family have already chimed in on our live YouTube chat board. Excited to see the action as Josh Anthon is going to make another run here at a World Championships. Josh, of course, coming in that epic playoff battle in 2009 where he went, I believe, 5 or 6 playoff holes with Avery Jenkins, and ultimately Avery came out on top. We saw Josh then take second for the next few consecutive years, coming up just short of a world title.
Barsby's birdie attempt is just low from the right side. He'll have to settle for par here.
Anthon taking a moment as he's pacing back and forth to think about how he could be possibly tied for the lead in just a few minutes here at the World Championships, going for his second consecutive birdie. Solid recovery by Paul Ulibarri there.
Yeah, great up and down.
So this is Josh Anthon for a tie for the lead at the Worlds. There you go. He's come out on fire here, and immediately he has erased the 2-stroke deficit that he started the day with Greg Barsby, a fellow California player, and Josh Anthon tied. Greg Barsby will tap in. Paul Macbeth is charging. We'll talk more about that from hole 3.
Hole 3 is coming in as the 10th most difficult hole on the course with a scoring average of 2.92. The hole measures for the men at 305 feet. And sorry, that's actually the same tee for the women, my fault. But players are just going to try to play either a fairway driver or a mid-range up the middle. They really want to control that speed and especially the line, as if a disc comes down on a hyzer near this basket, it's really easy for it to skip away. There is a runaway green behind the basket that can roll away to OB. There is also OB on the right side and jail on the left. So this is an extremely important tee shot to find themselves somewhere in the fairway. Circle 2 or circle 1 is a great success as per usual. But if that disc has a little too much speed, they can find themselves back in that creek, putting back uphill at the basket, now just to save par. I'd say a pretty important hole to get off the tee well on.
Well, and a question that continues to come in as we're watching Paul McBeth and others make their charge from a chase card or beyond. A lot of people keep saying, when's the last time someone came off the chase card to win at the Worlds? And I'll say never. And the reason is there's always been a final 9 until last year.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So people continually, I'll just put it to rest right now. That has never happened before, because usually you're eliminated and only there's 4, or occasionally I think we've seen 5 people in the final 9. So, but it very well could happen today. We'll keep you guys on top of the situation.
Yeah, but speaking of that, we've got Paul McBeth sitting at 4 under through 5 holes. Now he's still, he's put a few more holes than our lead card, but he's only 1 shot off the pace as it stands right now.
Exactly. McBeth sits at 34 under par, tied with Paul Ulibarri, along with Matt Oram. And Matt Oram is 3 under through the first 5 holes. So everybody has put on their game face, and they're ready today to go after that World Championship title. Like you said, Paul McBeth has played 3 extra holes, but he's birdied all 3 of them. So he can only do what he can do, and we'll see what our leaders are going to have to respond with. And for those that don't know, when I referenced the final 9, for many years we had it. Last year was the first time that they removed it. It was 4 rounds of 18. This year it's 5 rounds of 18. Next year it may have a slightly different configuration to it. But here's Josh Anthon right up the middle.
And this angle is beautiful. Excellent speed control, and he is absolutely parked hole 3. Anthon coming out and making his intentions known from the start. He is here to win.
Wow. Josh Anthon about to go 3 for 3 and will at least maintain a piece of the lead after hole 3 is complete.
Ulibarri's drive is on the right side of the fairway and just caught the rightmost tree on the gap, and that's knocked him down. He likely will not have a good look at birdie here.
Greg Barsby, who hails out of Grass Valley, California. Same neighborhood as Jessica Weiss, who made a late charge this morning. Jessica with a very solid finish here at the Pro Worlds. That's a little wide.
Barsby's drive pulled wide right and is kicked across the fairway. He's probably far enough up that he shouldn't have much trouble getting up and down for his par. Certainly not a desirable landing zone if you're trying to get a birdie, though. Conrad with a beautiful angle coming down the fairway, settling right around the edge of circle 1.
We never settle. That's why we have supporters and sponsors.
Bruce Willis was a ghost. Gwyneth Paltrow's head is in the box. Snape kills Dumbledore. Mrs. Bates was dead. Ross and Rachel end up together. Rosebud was the sled. Tyler Durden doesn't exist. Vader is Luke's father. Ned Stark is killed in Season 1. Miss Voorhees was the killer. Soylent Green is people. This is a public service announcement. There are no spoilers in sports. Watch live Disc Golf on Smashbox TV.
Are you currently looking for the one? How do you get hooked up usually?
Through friends,
Players' parties.
sometimes even fans.
And how's that been working for you?
Not so good.
Have you ever tried looking online?
Never.
You should check this site out.
Oh my gosh.
Good money on him.
We're back with Greg Barsby trying a forehand approach. He catches a limb, but it continues to move toward the pin. And he should be able to get up and down and complete for the par from there. That's inside 15 feet. Ulibarri just trying to land this flat.
He's done so well. He'll take a par here on hole 3.
James Conrad told me last night at Fall Fest, which he was definitely enjoying every bit of, that he has been so confident in his putting stroke. He feels like anytime he sees the basket, he has a chance to make it. And we'll see if that carries through this weekend. He's been very, very pleased with his putting. And there it is. James Conrad answers with a birdie of his own.
And that's a much more scary putt than you can tell from just watching on camera. That green really does slope away, and if that putter happens to just hit the basket or airball, your comeback is likely longer than the putt you just had. Barsby does get up and down from his errant drive.
And Anton taps in. He's perfect 3 for 3. Macbeth is 5 for 6. We've got a very long walk. We'll see you on hole 4.
I'm Danny from Dynamic Discs, here with some tips on how to shape shots with a hyzer release. A hyzer release is one of the most powerful ways to throw a disc, and just by changing the disc that's thrown, you can achieve a lot of different shot shapes. Throwing a hyzer release with something overstable like an enforcer or a defender is going to either be a spike hyzer or a skip shot. If you throw it up in the air, it's going to maintain that angle. It's not going to go very far because it's not gliding, it's not flat. It's going to dive into the ground and generally not skip. A hyzer release with something straight like a trespass or an escape is going to flip up to flat, maybe glide a little bit to the right, and then finish back to the left. It's going to fly very straight and be very accurate. A hyzer release with something understable like a renegade or a witness is going to flip up to flat and hold to the right. This is a great substitution for a long forehand in the woods because it's going to fly straight while it's turning and only fade to the right once it's done. If you're looking for more tips like this on how to improve your disc golf game and shot selection and disc selection, check out Physics of Flight from Dynamic Discs.
Are you currently looking for the one? How do you get hooked up usually?
Through friends,
Players' parties.
sometimes even fans.
And how's that been working for you?
Not so good.
Have you ever tried looking online?
Never.
You should check this site out.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Find your go-to disc at blankinkdiscs.com today. 2018 Tour Support discs available now.
Gotta get one.
I need one.
Oh hey, are you guys looking for a disc that flies pretty straight? I would recommend the Avenger SS. I really like this disc because it's a nice straight fairway driver. What I would recommend for anybody looking for a nice straight drive is a disc that's slightly understable where you can throw it out at a hyzer flip, let it fly, but it's still gonna come back. If you try and throw anything that's overstable, you're gonna have to crank it too hard and now you're going against that whole straight flight that you're looking for. So if you're looking for that nice straight driver right out of the box, give the Avenger SS a try.
Welcome back, everyone. Terry Miller along with Robert McCall. We've taken the long transition, actually, to move over to hole number 4. We'd like to thank all of our supporters and sponsors out there. We'd like to thank all of our viewers. We are already crushing some numbers, looking at over 5,000 live viewers. And understandably, they're here for the show. Look at what Josh Anthon is doing.
I thought you were talking about the hair show.
Well, yeah, your hair show as well. And earlier you had said 5,000 viewers. He's like, I figured my hair would bring twice that many. I agree.
That sounds exactly like what I was saying.
You guys need to step it up. But please go out and like and share the link. Let everyone know you're watching live disc golf as our PDGA World Championships is in its final round. And Josh Anthon's on the tee, a perfect 3 for 3. In that time, Paul McBeth now has started out his round. He is 5 down through 6. Hole 2 was the only hole that he's missed thus far. So Paul just a single stroke off the lead of Josh Anthon as he's tied with with Barsby and Orem. And he's tied with himself, Paul McBeth.
Anthon's drive looks to be fading back into the landing zone, and he's gotten the green flag.
Everyone could just log into AOL Instant Messenger, maybe share this link with your buddies. We would appreciate that. If you need a CD, let me know.
Conrad's thrown something with good stability that's finishing left, and he has found the landing zone as well. Ulibarri attempting a similar line, fading left. Spotter's given him a red flag.
Wow, Paul Ulibarri. Too much hyzer to finish out, and now that is out of bounds. Here's Greg Barsby. He's going with a forehand right up the middle. And Barsby also with the green flag. Let's take a look at a word from one of these sponsors. Welcome back as everyone is making their way down the fairway here on hole number 4. There's so many storylines. I mean, when you have so many people that are truly in contention as we go to this incredibly challenging course, the course that offers so much OB, but yet has so much distance, there are what, 6, 8, 10 people that could win this yet today?
Right now, looking at the scores, we've got, let's see. We've got 7 people who are within 4 throws of the lead as it stands right now. We've got, let's try this again, 6 people within 2 throws of the lead. And so there are so many people that could still win this right now. If somebody catches fire, they could be our eventual champion. And we see some people trying to do just that. Paul McBeth, 5 under through 6. Matt Orem, 4 under through 6. And then, of course, Josh Anthon here on the lead card, 3 under through 3. Ulibarri doesn't sound pleased with his attempt. That is headed left. It's going to be safe, but he'll be around Circle 2's edge putting at this basket. That's not where you want to be putting for your par here.
We see that our chase card is currently in the fairway on hole number 7, which has proved to be quite troublesome for a number of our competitors on both MPO and FPO sides. James Conrad
with full commitment on this turnover. Put himself inside circle 1, looking at a birdie.
Talk about prime position here for Josh Anthon. You really couldn't place that any better.
Now, the only thing that you could do is maybe be farther up in the landing zone, but this is perfectly wide open. We're going to see a forehand from Josh Anthon here. And that's got decent width. Yeah, that's well executed. He'll be inside the circle for his look at birdie 3. I'm honestly a bit surprised to see Anthon take a forehand there, with as proficient as he is with, you know, rocks and AVRs.
Yeah, some of those short, some of those really short approach shots, he seems to really rely on that really overstable forehand shot. Oh, and Greg Barsby's pin high to the right of the basket. And look at the view that we're finding out here as we're at Smuggler's Notch Resort. We'll also take a quick look at the scorecard. As we said, Josh Anthon is your outright leader right now, sitting at 3 under through the first 3 holes. Greg Barsby sits at 35 under as he is parred throughout the first 3 holes. Paul McBeth, 5 under through 6. They're in the middle of 7. A moment ago, I saw it said that he was on the fairway after 2 throws on hole number 7. Matt Oram also making a charge. Good old Matty O, as he is sitting at 4 under through 6 holes. So people like Conrad, Ulibarri, obviously Greg Barsby himself, there's no resting. There's no relaxing whatsoever. Somebody is ready to come up and take this championships, or even at least bump them out of that 2nd or 3rd podium spot, saying, just get out of the way. I'm going to make a run here, and you're going to have to be on today if you want to hold on to those top positions.
I agree. I think I'm going to make a bold prediction here.
Yes, I'm excited.
Here it is. I think our champion today is going to have to shoot better than 12 under to win the championship.
Okay, I can get behind that, regardless of where they're coming from, and that may be somebody on this lead card or the chase card.
Yeah, that could easily be McBeth. It could be Matty O, like we said. We've got another big mover in Kevin Jones right now, who's 7 under through 11. He's carded a lone bogey, but looks as if he's putting for bogey again. Kevin won't be in contention for the win this weekend, but he has been steadily moving up the leaderboard today. Oh, and Ulibarri's bid is just off to the right. He's going to have to take a bogey here on hole 4. Barsby has a bit of crosswind coming off of his right shoulder. For somebody who putts with hyzer, it's a very intimidating wind. Barsby doesn't know anything about intimidation. He is the intimidator.
Yes, he is. The headband proves it.
There's something about headbands that's really intimidating. I'm glad you said that.
So Barsby's going to card the birdie. That's going to be his first one of the round and momentarily put him in a tie again with Josh Anthon for first place. James Conrad off to somewhat of a slow start. He's only got 1 birdie in the first 3 holes. He'd like to double that here.
Wow, and Conrad's putter lifts and hits the headband. He'll be in close for a par. I was out on the course a bit earlier following some of the action and saw Barry Schultz in a similar position, maybe a bit closer to the basket, meet that same demise of his putter lifting a little bit more. So it seems like from his perspective, there may have been a little bit of headwind holding that putter up.
And Josh Anthon continues on a tear here. He has 4 down through the first 4 holes, and still your outright leader at 37 under par. I'll tell you, it's not going to matter at all what the chase card is doing if Josh birdies everything. Let's take a look at hole 5.
Hole 5 plays at 445 feet and is the second most difficult hole out here for the MPO side today. This hole has a scoring average of 3.33, so playing a third of a stroke over par. Our top competitors can throw a big hyzer around the trees on the right side of your screen right now, lifting over those and landing near the basket. However, there's trouble to be found everywhere. There is out of bounds on the right side, the left, and long of the basket, as well as water OB on the left side. The prevailing wind today has been a bit of a right to left crosswind. So if our players do take an aggressive hyzer out over those trees, they're going to need to play it even wider than they have the last few days to make sure that they land in bounds and give themselves a look at that birdie too. Today, we've only got 18% of our players carding birdies here. That's 16 players overall, 47% taking par, and then more than a third of our field, 35%, taking bogey or worse here on hole 5.
And I think that's a direct result of players just being really aggressive here on the final day and saying, hey, I'm going to try and drive it all the way to the green. And then when they get there, not only are they going to probably be faced with somewhat of an uphill putt, they have that water that you spoke of that could possibly roll away. Or if they're not getting all the way to the green, it's probably because they're getting hung up in the OB on the left or right side. This hole is, of course, requires precision, and you have to be fully committed if you're going for the green or not, and then playing accordingly.
Here's Anthon, perfect through 4, lining up a big hyzer on hole 5. Anthon has opted for more of a moderate height hyzer, and this is tracking the basket beautifully.
And Josh Anthon just needs for it to finally sit, and it does. Anthon within 15 feet, trying to go 5 for 5. He wants the title.
And that's a good play for Anthon. I like this more medium height hyzer rather than going up over all the trees so that you can keep your disc out of the wind a little bit more. Barsby's hyzer is stood up to flat and is tracking left as well. And he spiked in near the basket as well. Yeah, he's going to settle actually inside of Anthon for his look at birdie 2. Looks like Anthon's rolled down the hill just a bit, so he'll have a little bit more challenge than where his disc had landed initially. These guys are making this hole look really easy, by the way, and it just isn't. Conrad's gotten a red flag. We were unable to see where that drive started, but I would assume it's probably pushed OB to the right side.
That bounces off the bridge and then carries all the way into the OB. We'll see you on the green.
And we're back here on hole 5. We've seen James Conrad just approach the basket. His purple disc is sitting behind the basket right now. That's going to be his putt for bogey after going out of bounds on the right side of the fairway. We saw Paul Ulibarri, who's last to drive, unfortunately hit the flat spot near the basket and skip out of bounds on the rocks to the left side. This will be his putt for par.
Johnny's working on it. Gotcha. That's what makes it.
While Ulibarri checks the wind, we'd like to thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'd recommend and even ask that you like and share the stream today, as we've got live disc golf at the 2018 Disc Golf World Championships, one of the closest knit competitions we've had in recent memory. So please like and share the stream, and we love seeing the super chats that have come in so far. Oh, Ulibarri's bid is 1 inch from making it. On the left side of the basket, hits some chains and falls out. He's going to have to take another bogey here, back-to-back on holes 4 and 5. As I was saying, thank you guys so much for the super chats. They make us able to do the things that we do.
And you can win stuff.
Oh, you can win stuff?
Oh, you can.
Like Josh Anthon is trying to win right now by just birdieing more?
He is. He is now 5 for 5 as he's opening up the round. Greg Barsby is going to answer here on hole 5 with a birdie of his own, but he's still going to be down to Josh Anthon.
Speaking of people who want to win, we've got Paul McBeth sitting at 6 under through 7 as he's birdied the ever difficult hole 7.
Wow. So a pair of birdies and a pair of bogeys. Let's move on to 6. What are they going to see?
Hole 6 is actually one of the easiest holes on the course. In fact, today playing as the easiest hole on the course, coming in at a scoring average of 2.25 for the MPO field. Now, this is a cut MPO field, so you are having the better players from the bunch played today. We've got 78% of the field taking birdie on this hole, 18% taking par, and only 3% bogey. No or worse today, just bogeys. This is for most of our players going to be a forehand up to the green. The option for a high turnover with a putter or a mid-range is there as well. But because of the distance and I'd say the mostly open line, this is a must-get birdie for our competitors today. If you walk off of 6 with anything but a birdie, you're not going to be very happy.
No. Not at all. Well, and there's so many ways you can attack this hole. I mean, even if you want to throw an overhand shot, it's right there for you. I mean, the backhand turnover shot, the forehand shot, the overhand, they're all available. Keep it in bounds, get up and down, take the easy birdie, and just walk off the hole. Like you said, if you're not birdieing this hole, you're losing a stroke to most of, if not almost all of the field.
Yeah, 3/4 of the field.
And you're not going to be pleased with yourself. So make sure that you get the birdie. I think we're going to see a turnover shot, probably a rock or possibly a putter from Josh Anthon, as he'll be throwing a turnover here. He has dialed in as he's gotten 5 for 5 here to open this final round.
And this is high and moving right, and Anthon has thrown OB right. That is a huge error. It looks like he just got his putter up a bit high, and then the wind got under it, pushed it all the way over.
I do not believe I just saw Josh Anthon make that mistake. That is just not like him.
This is the same hole that Paige Bjerkes went OB on as well. Maybe just wanting to get it a little too close with that backhand and letting it go a bit late so that it would carry far enough right. Barsby's forehand is certainly wide enough. Yeah, let's call that good.
Oh, yeah. Greg Barsby is going to immediately step through that window of opportunity, try and reclaim the lead as Barsby puts it right next to the basket.
From where this is Conrad, from where Anthon went out of bounds, I believe he's got a pretty close look for a par, so it would not be surprising to see him collect his circle 3 while Barsby collects his 2. Conrad showing us how the turnover putter play should be made as he lands near the out-of-bounds wall, but well within 20 feet. Last to tee is Paul Ulibarri. If Ulibarri wants any shot at contending for the title, he needs to start getting birdies right now. And this is a good angle for Ulibarri.
And
Lawn darts.
It will be a birdie. Here's a word from our sponsor, Next Gen Tour.
Welcome back to hole 6. We've got our competitors and some spectators looking for Josh Anthon's disc that has ultimately settled out of bounds. During the commercials, we were discussing if Anthon's group is in fact going to give him the spot that the spotter gave him. It's really hard to know from our perspective whether his disc did in fact cross the inbounds portion near the basket, and it looks like they have given him that spot. It looked like the putter had cut in a little bit earlier from our perspective, but out on the course, you trust the player's judgment, and they've given him the spot that they feel good about. Anthon will take his first non-birdie of the round, and it'll come in the form of a bogey on this easiest hole on the course. That is a huge turn of events for Anthon. While 400 through 6 isn't a bad score, this should just be an easy birdie for our competitors. James Conrad makes quick work of his birdie. Ulibarri does the same. Anthon's putt from circle 2 will actually be outside Barsby, but he's going to allow Greg to clear out first.
A flow of play, and I know you guys have been calling for it, and we happen to be in a position at the moment to see this action. So it looks like we've got Paul Macbeth over on hole number 9. Hole number 9's tee isn't too far from hole 7's catch area. That's why we're able to run over here. This is for you, Adam, out on the board.
You got Macbeth sitting at 6 under par as he's just taken his second par of the round on hole 8, one of the most difficult holes relative to par. Macbeth has played a stand-up hyzer at the right side trees. He needs that to sit softly if he wants to have a close putt. That's skipped up the hill just a bit, but he'll be right outside circle 1 looking at his putt for birdie. Now that we've given you the coverage that you really want and everyone has been calling for, go ahead and like and share the stream so everyone can watch live disc golf here. Here's Seppo Payu throwing a beautiful line, asking for his disc to get down. It looks like he's covered the distance well. He will likely be inside circle 1. Next on the tee is Matty O, 33 under par, sitting in a tie for 5th place. And this is riding the woods on the right perfectly, skipping up toward the basket. That will be inside circle 1 for Matty O as well. Maybe just a bit outside now. And last to tee will be Nate Perkins, our biggest mover of yesterday. shooting, I believe it was at 11 under over at Brewster Ridge.
Yes, an 11 under par for Perkins. Very solid performance out there. Nate going with the backhand, and we'll see if that has enough stability. It definitely does.
This is looking really nice. That's inside the circle for Perkins. Well done.
And off goes the chase card. Of course, a nice gallery following along, taking in the action there. Meanwhile, we're going to take a look at hole 7 here.
This will not be a shock to anyone who's kept up with the broadcast this week. Hole 7 is the most difficult hole relative to par on the Fox Run Meadows course. Coming in at 1,225 feet, this par 5 is playing at a 5.69 scoring average. With 88 players playing through today, we've got only 13% of the field taking birdie, 38% of the field taking par, meaning that half of the field is taking bogey, double, or worse, as we've got 25 players taking bogey, 11 taking double, and then 8 players taking triple bogey or worse. Here's Greg Barsby on the tee. Our players can opt to lay up in front of that bridge on OB stakes, or like Greg, they can go over on their first shot. Greg has covered the OB creek. Has found himself in a good spot on the fairway. There is OB everywhere on this hole, left, right, short, and long. So distance isn't so much at a premium as just keeping it in the short ropes. Sorry, the short grass. The ropes, it doesn't matter how tall they are.
Is this a short joke?
And we see Barsby playing the aggressive tee shot. This is James Conrad playing a layup over to the left side. More than likely, for most players, that's a play for just an easy par. James Conrad has the type of power that could get him an opportunity for birdie if he gets aggressive on his next 2 shots. Muhleberry's played a low hyzer that's straightening up. And he has found the inbounds area. I caught up with Kevin Jones's card earlier, and he had taken 7 on this hole twice. Today, he found the fairway finally. So big shout to Kevin Jones, one of the longest throwers in the game. He was elated to be in the short grass.
Maybe he should take a page out of the world champ Paige Bierkes' book. She 5'd it all 3 rounds.
She's pretty good.
She is, and so are these sponsors.
The Pro Tour Pinch Bag, created by Upper Park. 17 to 20 discs. Sleek, urban design for daily commuter use. Abrasion resistant, waterproof base, ultra lightweight. Whether you're heading into the office or the gym, on a weekend hike, exploring another country, or at your favorite local course, the Pinch adapts to meet the situation and looks good doing it. Supplies are limited. Pre-order yours today.
Welcome back to Hole 7's fairway. We are looking at Josh Anthon and James Conrad, both of whom have opted to lay up on their drives. You see that Paul Macbeth has taken a par on hole 9, as it looked like he was putting from circle 2 on his drive. Yes, that's correct. So he is 6 under through 9 holes. James Conrad has leaned into this shot and has turned it toward the out of bounds on the right, waiting for it to move back left. He's found the center of the fairway. That's well played by James. It's likely that he's a little too far out to feel confident to play a shot for birdie. He may just be playing for an easy par here. Anton playing a hyzer that stood up to flat. And that's looking great in the fairway. Got a quick walk over this bridge, as that is the separator between the layup part of the fairway and then the go for it part of the fairway. We've had two players take the go for it shots here. Greg Barsby and Paul Ulibarri have both found themselves safe. They will have a bit of a distance advantage over the competitors who've laid up, but this hole can bite you so quickly. As I said, more than half of the field taking bogey or worse here.
Do you find it interesting that James Conrad, who's one of the longest throwers in the game, and coincidentally has the longest hair in the game, but anyway, James Conrad, one of the longest throwers, and then Josh Anton, one of the most aggressive players in the game, both of them are the two that actually lay up to this position. Is that somewhat of an oddity to you?
I think it's interesting, but it definitely speaks to how difficult the hole is. This is just so easy to find big numbers here. We saw on the women's side, we saw Paige Bjerkes yesterday take a 5 while Sarah Hokum took a 9. And that ultimately gave Paige the strokes back that she lost earlier in the day. So, yeah, I think these guys are just saying, I just want my par and get out of here. Ulibarri has bit off a good portion of the fairway. Yeah, once you're in that little bubble out to the left side, you can reach the green from there. I wouldn't say comfortably, but more comfortably than in front of it. I expect to see Ulibarri playing for birdie here, as he's got to start carding some birdies if he wants to make a run at this championship.
And we've all come to know and count on Greg Barsby's proficiency with his forehand. He's going to try and hang that one out to the left. Just needs a little bit of stability to come right back to the fairway, and it's doing exactly that.
That's well played by Barsby, trusting the stability of that disc out over the out of bounds, just so that he can find the fairway just a bit easier.
All right, well, they're moving down the fairway. A little bit earlier on the FPO side, we talked about the importance of hole number 7. I caught up with Doug and Noemi last night as they were actually out to dinner. We were treated to Martell's. Thank you so much over at Martell's. They graciously gave us a little bit of sponsorship as we visited, and they didn't make me say that. I wanted to on my own. But that's where we happened to run into Doug and Noemi. And Doug had a really interesting perspective on hole 7. He said Paige Pierce took a 7 and an 8 on hole number 7. That's 15 total strokes. We'll do the quick math for you. Paige Bjerkes in the first 2 rounds went 5-5. What was the difference between the two of them at the scores at the opening of the 3rd round or the final round here?
That's exactly right, 5 strokes.
Exactly. So it was just an interesting observation that Doug had made to me today. Paige Bjerkes goes out, cards the relatively easy 5. Actually, she was putting for a 4.
That's right.
She was putting for the 4. She walks away with that, and Pierce again, I think, takes the 7, if I recall the number. So right there, I mean, of course, there was more separation than just that in that one hole here at the Worlds. But on a hole where distance can be rewarded, Paige Pierce does not capitalize. She ultimately walks away from that hole somewhere around 5 or 6 up for the weekend, just on that one particular hole. Paige Bjerkes plays it perfectly for par and is your world champion.
And that has to be, clearly, that has to be the best group of scores that any female took on the week. It may be the best group of scores that any competitor takes this week.
Yeah, carding 3 consecutive 5s. They did play from a slightly shorter tee, but nonetheless, a very commendable and excellent effort there by Paige Bjerkes.
James Conrad playing a straight shot. This is finishing to the left, and he's asking it to get down.
Oh, and it's going to come up just short of the out of bounds. So James Conrad will have his putt from there, which looks to be right around circle 2's edge. This is Josh Anthon. And we'll see what kind of stability, though, as it's fighting towards the out of bounds, and Anthon is in disbelief. That needed just a few more feet to get back inbounds, but instead it hits the tree and stays out. What a mistake by Josh Anthon. The spotter runs over. And as they can move down the fairway, we want to quickly shout out one of our amazing super chatters in Tony Boyko. Tony, thank you so much. You support us on so many levels. Tony's actually operated a camera for Smashbox at one time a few years ago, so we appreciate all the support. Tony with Sail On Enterprises out there doing work. He's willing to do disc golf work for disc golfers in terms of any of their internet or computer needs. So thank you so much, Tony. We appreciate the super chat.
And this is a long forehand from Greg Barsby. Needs that to settle down.
Oh, and that has gone deep and past the OB as well. So Greg Barsby, he's going to follow up with a small mistake of his own here, going past the basket.
And now this is just a note for spotters. I appreciate the spotter getting out there and marking the spot quickly and waving the red flag, but just out of courtesy, you might not smile so much next time.
And wave it so enthusiastically, like, hey, do you see this big red flag?
Obviously joking, obviously joking. We appreciate all of the volunteers out here.
Hey man, you're way out of bounds, way over here. As that approach shot's just outside the circle's edge.
I'll tell you, when we went to Finland earlier this year, it was funny to see the difference between how spectators and spotters respond to bad shots. You know, we have a lot of spotters out here and spectators who will say when something's heading out of bounds, they'll say, "Oh, get down," or "check up," or something like that.
Get stable.
We heard some spotters over in Finland just say, that's OB, and then just let it go. And then we've had players walk up to those spotters, you know, to find out where their disc went out of bounds, and the spotter just said, "Yeah, that's not where you want to be." So a little bit more frank, maybe over there in Finland. I'll take an enthusiastic red flag wave over that. I think it was funny. It was all in good fun.
All right. Well, after Paul McBeth missed back-to-back. He missed back-to-back birdie opportunities on 8 and 9. He's now birdied hole number 10, which puts him at 37 under par. He is 2 ahead of Matt Oram, who's at 35. But right now, Paul McBeth tied momentarily with Josh Anthon. Anthon, however, having his troubles here on hole number 7, and both of them being McBeth and Anthon 1 stroke behind Greg Barsby.
I'm going to do some quick math here, but it's likely that Paul McBeth will be tied for the lead after hole 7.
Unbelievable.
We saw James Conrad's drive, I believe 2 days ago, land in a similar spot and end up skipping out of bounds long. So good for him to see the grass catch his shot just a little bit better here.
James Conrad's effort is just a bit aggressive. I caught up with James at Fall Fest last night, and one of our conversations led to talking about that circle 2 or even circle 3 putting. And I told him, I said, we had the conversation about just how great and efficient Nico LaCastro was, specifically 10 years ago during our conversation. And I said, if you had $10,000 on the line, and you had there was an 80-foot putt, who would you want to put into that position? Who would you want taking that putt? And he said, not to sound cocky, but I'd want me. Mm-hmm. And I certainly believe that. You had mentioned yesterday just how good he is at those long-range putts, and he's been dialed most of this week, and he's going to need to get those going here today too. As Barsby doesn't connect.
And that means he is going to settle into a tie with Paul McBeth. Though McBeth is through a few more holes, he's going to be sitting at 37 under par as we finish hole 7 here. I like that out of James Conrad, though. In a putter, I think the most important thing in putting isn't your putting stroke. It's not your style. It's your mindset. Putting is a confidence game, and you can tell that Conrad is confident in his abilities. So I love that answer. I think we're going to see a future champion, maybe not this week in James Conrad, but he's going to continue to win events, and I think he could certainly win a world championship. And Ulibarri's struggles continue a bit as he leaves that putt just a bit high for his birdie. He'll be settling for par here, which isn't a bad place to get par, but Ulibarri wants to collect birdies. He really needs to make a charge.
Yeah, it feels like Ulibarri's chances here are certainly dwindling as we see the charging Paul McBeth. Like I said, he's 7 under through 10. Greg Barsby's going to walk away here with the bogey 6, and he's going to dip down. Josh Anthon is going to lose a stroke as well with the bogey. So Josh Anthon has momentarily moved into 3rd as Paul McBeth and Greg Barsby are tied for 1st. I can barely keep up with it all. Let's move over to hole 8.
Hole 8 today is playing as the 5th most difficult hole on the course for today's competitors, 675 feet. I think the only reason that it isn't the most difficult hole is that a lot of players just play for par because this hole is so difficult, with a scoring average of 4.19. Players are trying to play either a right-hand backhand turnover or a forehand into the landing zone right around where the drone is right now. That's going to set them up for the opportunity to approach this green, but it's got out of bounds on the right and left, right that pinches in extremely close to the basket and opens up a bit on the left. Any player who wants to card a birdie 3 here is going to have to put together 2 pinpoint shots with decent aggression, as this hole does play, I'd say, fairly uphill, so that your second shot feels a lot more uphill than it looks on camera. The OB on the right side is also inside the circle, so if you slip up on your second shot just a bit, you can find that and be putting for par or bogey instead of birdie or par.
Well, it's in a crazy turn of events. Like I said, the bogey by Greg Barsby puts him to 37 under par. He is now tied up with Paul McBeth. Paul McBeth is putting for par from circle 1 on hole 11 at the moment. So that's what we're going to see from Paul. It does not look like he's going to be birdieing hole 11. At best, he's going to be walking away with the par. Josh Anthon sits at 36 under par, so he's right there, just 1 stroke off, as is Matty O. Matty O has just birdied hole number 11. That's going to push him to 36 under, so he is currently tied with Josh Anthon, 1 stroke off the lead. Anybody can win this tournament. James Conrad has dipped to 34th, so he's a little off their pace. But right now, we have 4 guys within a single stroke, all vying for the championship. Unbelievable.
Are you ready for another hot take?
Yes, another hot take by Robert McCall.
I think only 1 player on this card birdies hole 8, and I think we're going to see 1 bogey, 2 pars, and 1 birdie. There it is.
1 birdie, 2 pars, and a bogey. So you're looking for the full scoring spread here on hole number 8.
Now, we're not quite going 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll just take a 3, 2 4s, and a 5.
Okay. Here's James Conrad.
And based on the angle of this drive, this might be your look at birdie. Conrad just smashed that up the fairway. He's gotten himself to a great landing zone to attack the green. Ulibarri's drive is straight and now moving right. It looks as if he's played a clean tee shot, but not one meant to attack the green on the second. I think he'll more than likely just be playing up to the left and pitching up for par. Barsby taking a huge drive on this, which is moving right beautifully. And that's panned to a great landing zone. Last to tee after consecutive bogeys is Josh Anthon. Looked like his front foot slipped out a bit as he threw this shot.
And he still finds himself inbounds. We're going to move up the fairway after a word from this sponsor.
When you order from Dynamic Discs, we do our best from start to finish. First, we receive your order from the website and print out the packing slip detailing the specific items you selected. Then, your order is pulled directly from the shelves, packed in a cardboard box to prevent bending during transit, and quickly on its way to you with free shipping. For every purchase online with Dynamic Discs, you'll receive rewards points so you can save on your next order. We'll work with you to make sure you get the exact disc you're looking for. For anything from Dynamic Discs, Latitude 64, or Westside Discs, head to dynamicdiscs.com. See Josh Anthon walking up the fairway. So see our, I'm almost going to go ahead and call it an old school signboard, but our on-site placard being held up by one of our volunteers. Thank you. Josh Anthon finds himself just about at Circle 2's edge, which is about 66 feet.
And Ulibarri's drive has gone out of bounds. That looked like a layup from where we were. James Conrad taking an aggressive line at the basket, but looked as if he slipped a little when he planted. So that's going to be low and outside Circle 2. That'll be a long, long birdie look. More than likely one that he'll kind of give a half bid to. Barsby with the forehand approach to the green has turned that too much. Oh my goodness, he has gotten saved by the Velcro grass. That was headed straight out of bounds, but settled just in time to be safe. Good for Greg. He's going to be putting for birdie just outside Circle 2. We catch back up on the scores. We see Greg Barsby and Paul Macbeth tied atop the leaderboard, sitting at 37 under par for the week. Josh Anthon and Matt Oram just one shot off that pace at 36. James Conrad and Seppo Payu sitting 3 shots off the lead, tied for 5th, with Ulibarri at 33. LaVisca, 5 under through 14, sitting in 8th place. And we've got Nate Perkins dropping off the pace just a bit. He's 1 over on the day, 28 under on the weekend, tied with Ricky Wysocki, who is 4 under through 14 today.
And while you were on the subject of hot takes as we came into hole number 8 here, I'm going to follow up with one of my own, and I think I'm going to go ahead and call it right now that we are not going to see the three-peat by Ricky Wysocki.
There are too few holes and not enough birdies left.
And that is not the least insightful thing I've said all weekend. Here's Ulibarri throwing to within 10 feet of the basket. Ulibarri clearly struggling out here today. His run at the championships is certainly has come to an end here. Same idea. There's just simply not enough holes and enough time. And there's too many other players right now that clearly are dialed in enough that he's not going to be able to catch up to them or keep pace with them at this point. We're looking for a solid finish from Ulibarri, but his run at the championship is thus far over.
Oh, and that's hit the flag and ultimately settled down in bounds. That would have been a fantastic way to hole out, but instead it looks like that was James Conrad, correct? I missed the beginning. Yeah, that looks like it'll be James Conrad settling in for par here. Again, not a bad score on hole 8 at all. We've had 2/3 of our pro field taking par here, 59 of the 88 players who have already played the hole.
So in order for your prediction to come correct, you would need Greg Barsby to make this. Is that correct?
I would love nothing more than to see Greg Barsby make this.
You called for a birdie, 2 pars, and a bogey. We'll see if Greg Barsby can this from 80 feet. Oh.
Here's Anthon from outside circle 2 for his look at a birdie 3.
Wow.
And that's online, just not quite high enough. Really impressive.
Center.
Yeah, really impressive effort from there, but he'll settle for par. Barsby is in for par. As is Conrad. Here's Ulibarri for the unfortunate bogey, and Anthon will be dropping in for par as well.
Let's take a look at hole number 9.
Hole 9 plays 435 feet. Downhill the entire way. I think the effective distance is closer to 370 or 360 feet. Players can choose a few different routes to get to this basket, but each of them have to stand up to flat. So we'll see some players play a hyzer toward the tree line that's OB on the right side, swing back to the left, and find the inbounds area that kind of flares out to the left of the basket. We'll also see some competitors flex one out there or just something that stands up straight at the basket. This is the 7th most difficult hole on the course today, playing at a scoring average of 3.1. We've got just over the half of the field taking par here, with 19% taking birdie and then 26% with the dreaded bogey or worse.
I'll ask you, Robert, as I know I had just stated, and some people are, of course, giving their feedback and opinion out on our favorite chat board. I had said, Paul Ulibarri, right now he's looking like he's just out of it. And that is not, as I was saying, not a character assessment on him. That doesn't mean that I don't love Paul Ulibarri, who just celebrated his 30th birthday a couple days ago. And I clearly stated right there on the Facebooks, he is a blessing to disc golf.
I agree.
I think he is a blessing as a human and an individual. He's one of the greatest guys you could ever meet in our sport. But let's face it, there are 10 holes left to play. He not only is he behind by 5 strokes, but he has 6 world-class players in front of him. So it's just simply a matter of math. at this point. And I know that's one of your favorite subjects here on the air, math.
I do love math and words.
Yes.
But I agree. Yeah, I love Ulibarri. He's lost a couple too many strokes, I think, to be in contention without some ridiculous birdie streak. And that is an uncharacteristic miss from James Conrad. Either the disc slipped out early or his foot might have slipped on the tee pad. Either way, he is out of bounds very early and throwing his third from near the shorter tee pad here.
Our leader or co-leader in Greg Barsby sits at 37 under. Paul Macbeth has just parred hole 12. Macbeth remains at 37 under. He's 7 under for the round and 37 under overall.
Barsby throwing that hyzer flip. He hasn't quite pushed the woods as much as he'd like to, and he needs this to settle down, maybe get a roll down the hill. Instead, it'll stick in the hill pretty much directly between circle 1 and circle 2. That is a bit of a daunting putt heading at OB if our competitors choose to get aggressive from there.
Josh Anthon would have loved to hug the woods a little bit tighter here as well. We have to hope that that sits for him. It looks like it does, and he's going to be rewarded with the green flag.
Ulibarri playing the most aggressive line of the bunch, hanging it out on the right side. And that's expertly done by Ulibarri, settling just outside circle 1.
I love the experts that support our coverage, like this one.
We're back on hole 9 here with James Conrad. As we said, uncharacteristic miss from the tee, leaving him, I believe this is around 360 feet from this tee. Effective distance probably closer to 320 or 330. Conrad's disc didn't quite get as flat as he'd like. That is trailing left. I'll settle just inside Greg Barsby's for his look at a par 3. Oh, pardon me, bogey 4.
And each day that we're live broadcasting, we're going to be giving away over $500 in prizes. And all you need to do to be eligible is click the Super Chat button right beneath the chat. Every dollar you give to Smashbox TV will give you 1 entry into the drawing. So if you give $60, that's 60 entries. And we've got prizes from Black Ink Discs, Disc Golf Center, Infinite Discs, Keen Shoes, Dynamic Discs, Dude Clothing, Will Schustrick of Disc Golf Instruction. So join us on Smashbox TV's YouTube channel to be part of the broadcast.
And Anthon's bid is just long and right. He'll likely be taking a par here on hole 9. Shout out to all the super chatters out there on the chat right now. Thank you so much for your donations that enable us to be able to broadcast here from the Disc Golf World Championships in Smuggler's Notch, Vermont. This place is incredible, and we so much appreciate the support on the board. If you haven't been able to make it up to Smuggler's Notch before, I'm telling you right now, you are missing out. This is an elite disc golf destination. I love being out here. So many things to do outside of disc golf, and the disc golf courses are some of my favorites in the world.
Robert, you love this place so much, you brought your wife back for an entire weekend here.
That's right.
Good to share in the beautiful Vermont atmosphere. Barsby does not draw any metal.
And he did have to take a bit of a conservative approach at this putt. If that putter catches edge or hits the basket wrong, there is out of bounds, approximately 20 feet from the basket, and from his perspective, behind the basket. And if you're out there enjoying the coverage today, please like and share the stream. We've got 7,600 viewers right now. We would love to see more people taking in live disc golf action here at the World Championships. You could hear James say, "Oh no," and only the way that James can, really. Like,
yeah,
that's a blunder that most players would really hate, but I don't know, James just has a certain way about him. He just, oh no. He is going to be long of the basket, looking back at his opportunity for, I believe that's double bogey 5.
Which is Yuli from just outside the circle. Yeah, Yuli connects.
That's a great birdie for Uliberry. That's going to bring him back to even on the round after a bit of a struggle on the front 9. Quick recap of some other big movers on the day. We've got Kevin Jones. He's putting for birdie on hole 18 right now. He's 9 under on the day. That's moved him up 12 spots, along with Cameron Colglazier. 9 under, moved up 12 spots as well. Martin Hendel with a great round of 8 under par that moved him up 8 spots to a tie for 15th place.
And the jumper coming back from James Conrad. A little bit more stress than he was looking for here on hole number 9.
I see now why he said, oh no. He actually ended up outside circle 1. But that's where that confidence comes in. That's fantastic. Wow, and Anthon misses from,
unbelievable.
Pretty close. That's going to be a bogey for Josh Anthon, and even that, a 3-putt bogey. Wow, that was unexpected.
A turn of events here as Greg Barsby is going to be tapping in for his par. He's going to remain at 37 under. Tied with him is Paul McBeth, who is putting for his par on hole 13. So McBeth's not going to make any moves, but we're going to move over to hole 10.
Hole 10 is one of the most birdieable holes on the course here, coming in as the second most difficult hole, 2.3 scoring average. This hole opens up for a forehand that's hung out to the left side, finishing to the right, or a nice easy backhand turnover that lands softly. There is out of bounds on the right side, as well as behind the basket and fairly far over to the left. Most players don't find that left out of bounds very much. More often it's the long or right side. This is a birdie that players certainly want to walk away with, as we've seen 3/4 of our field, 76% take birdies here, 18% taking par, and then only 5 players today taking bogey, most of those probably because they went out of bounds.
And in a stunning, not so stunning turn of events, Matthew Oram, Matty O, is officially tied for the lead here at the World Championships. McBeth has parred on hole number 13. Matty O has birdied it. So we have Greg Barsby, Paul McBeth, Matt Oram, all tied for first place.
And those 3 are 2 clear of their nearest competitors, which are Josh Anthon and Seppo Paiu. Seppo Paiu putting together a clean sheet right now, sitting at 6 under par through 13, having just birdied hole 13.
Unbelievable.
Ulibarri's forehand has stood up nicely and is traveling back right to the basket. He's inside circle 1 looking at a birdie. Barsby's forehand is out to the left and tracking right. This has good speed, and that's relatively parked. That's going to be 15 feet or so. As I said before, for these elite players here on the top card and chase cards, this should be a birdie all day. Anthon's back seems to be bothering him as he's thrown a forehand that it's tough to tell if that stayed in bounds or not. It is pushing the out of bounds on the right, but he was holding his back as he walked away from the tee.
Here's James Conrad throwing the turnover. I believe that will be a beat-up JK AVR, or now that might be, in fact, a JC AVR. I know that he's been given some Tour Series fundraiser discs, and that we'll see if that floats enough to the basket. Just short. We'll be back with you in a few moments for the final 9 at the World Championships.
The season is over, and it is time to order your 2019 Pro Tour trading cards. Top 50 MPO, top 15 FPO, plus our limited release specialty cards. Pre-orders are guaranteed at least one limited release specialty card in each pack or deck.
And it looks like we're going to be here on hole number 10's green. And that it looks as if I'm looking at that disc correctly, it looks like Josh Anthon did in fact go out of bounds. Anthon to save his par. Oh, wow, left side chain and in. So Anthon ultimately is going to walk away with the par here. So many people say, where's the final 9? We love final 9s, and I'm one of them. Let's just consider this the final 9. The final 9 has officially started here at the World Championships. We're going to try and give you some bonus coverage even, which you've never seen before.
Right, and the entire field gets to play the final 9.
Yes.
Made the cut.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's just something nice we're doing here at Smashbox.
You're welcome.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, and James Conrad, everything that's been so solid about his putting has unfortunately, I feel like it's kind of left him. He did make the great jumper on the previous hole, but James Conrad just not putting as he usually does here today. Matt Oram, Greg Barsby, Paul Macbeth, all tied for the lead. We're going to see if we can possibly catch up with that chase card, give you a little single camera action as we're watching Paul Ulibarri right here putt for birdie on hole 10. And Yuli picks up the birdie. We are catching word that Josh Anthon on the course, on site there, has given some indication that he is definitely hurting at the moment. It sounds as if it is his back that he may have strained or pulled. I know Josh has gone through a number of injuries over the last year or two. I know he actually had a knee operated on a couple of years ago, so we'll see how that's going to fare out. But Josh Anthon certainly in pain as we move to hole 11.
Hole 11 comes in as the 5th easiest hole on the course with a 3.63 scoring average. Players are looking to throw something in between the tree on the left side of the screen right now and the horde of trees on the right side to find themselves in the short grass. The more left they are, the better, because they're playing down into a green that's protected by a lot of trees. And ideally, if you're on the left side of the fairway, you'll be able to throw a straight shot into that green as opposed to a gentle turnover. Anything over the rock wall is going to filter down toward the green, but there is still out of bounds left over the rock wall as well as right. I wouldn't say distance is so much a premium on this as making sure that you're far enough left to give yourself a look at the basket. Ulibarri's drive has stood up nicely. He's in a pretty good spot there. He'll likely lean on his forehand to approach this green.
And Greg Barsby with a beautiful turnover that's fighting back toward the fairway. And Matty O has officially got into a tie with just Greg Barsby now. Paul McBeth misses his birdie putt and takes the par on hole 14. Matty O on a tear.
Anthon's still able to get some good turn on this disc that is going to land inbounds and far enough left to be able to approach the green. James Conrad really leaning into this drive. That's moving right. He'll likely be throwing a turnover into the green from there.
We're feeling
My name's Cody Britton, and it's a hot one out here, which is perfect because we're going to be talking about the heat. One of the great things about the heat is it gives any skill level player the ability to get it up to speed, to get tremendous amounts of glide. The rim fits well in anyone's hand. So one of the things that I love about this disc is how easily I can throw a consistent Anheuser. You can even use it to throw manicured shots through the woods. It's just an all-around phenomenal disc. Check out the heat for yourself today. You can pick one up at discraft.com or your local retailer.
Let Dynamic Discs help distinguish the winners at your next event. We've got many options from a mini disc to a full-size disc, and we can do custom wrapped baskets from the micro recruit all the way up to a veteran. We can help design your trophies, and we have discounted prices on larger orders. Our designs feature sharp graphics and vibrant colors. We have what it takes to set your event's winners apart from their bags to their backyards. Learn all the ways we can help at dynamicdiscs.com.
As you said, Paul Ulibarri is going to rely on the forehand approach shot here, which I really like the play. That'll work for him. He got a little bit of a kick from that tree. He could have probably done without it, but he's going to be inside the circle looking at a putt from there.
Got another Anton forehand coming in here. Smooth out of his hand. Wow.
And that tree, on the other hand, might have been a good kick for him because that was coming in hot, and there's a chance it could have found the long OB.
I agree. Looks like he settled just outside circle 1. Uh-oh. We might be seeing a Conrad forehand here.
What?
I saw someone on the chat just a moment ago saying that Nate Sexton has now officially declared that James Conrad is no longer in the bottom 25 of forehands. So we'll have to see how this ends up working out. And that's not a bad looking forehand, but it just hasn't traveled far enough. That's going to be out of bounds behind the rock wall. And that's not what you're looking for from James Conrad right there.
No, unfortunately not. As you said, not only is he short, but it looks like it's going to be out of bounds. So as I look at James Conrad, who's been struggling a little bit, he's also right in that same neighborhood where we saw Paul Ulibarri a few moments ago in terms of his overall score. Conrad sits at 32 under par. The leaders, Greg Barsby, along with Matt Oram, sit at 38 under par. That's, I'll do the math, that's 6 strokes with only about 6 or 7 holes left to play, and all of these players between them. Unfortunately, I'm going to call that as well. James Conrad, his run at the World Championships, albeit a good one, is going to come up a little bit short this year. And still hats off to James for the
100%.
Just the tremendous performance he's put forth, winning the MVP Open just 2 weeks ago. James obviously has all the clear skill sets needed to be a top level contender, and it's just he's going to come up just a little bit short this year at the World Championships.
Yeah, and I'll say Conrad is one of the elite players in our sport right now. Certainly in the top 1% even of most touring pros, most professional players. He has the complete skill set, just fell a little bit short this weekend. And that's beautifully played by Conrad. One has to question, sitting in the booth, it's easy to sit up here and speculate, but one has to question if he truly was forced to throw that forehand or if he could have shaped a putter down to the basket from there. Obviously it's hard to know from where we're sitting.
Wow, and as Greg Barsby sets up for his putt here, Matt Oram has taken another birdie and is your outright leader here at the World Championships. He sits at 39 under par, 8 down for the round. Unbelievable.
Yeah, we see Macbeth taking a string of pars here, starting on hole 11 through 15. He's only got 3 holes remaining with the extremely difficult 16 remaining to birdie. Oh, and Barsby strikes from range yet again. How many times have we seen that this week? Oh. Wow, that's a big putt at a big time. I don't think Barsby knows where the scores are right now, but that is a huge strike from Greg Barsby.
All 3 of his card mates, Anton, Conrad, and Ulibarri, giving him the high five. And right now, Greg Barsby, and where these players are on hole 11, is at least a half mile away from where our chase card is.
That's right.
As they're sitting, getting ready to tee on hole number 16. You may have heard the eruption all the way across Smuggler's Notch here. That is just incredible. Greg Barsby now back to being tied with Matt Oram. Barsby has 4 additional holes under his belt. Correction, 3 additional holes under his belt that Matt Oram doesn't.
And Ulibarri just misses to the right.
And just like that, looks like we saw Matt Oram a moment ago throw his tee shot on hole number 16. We'll do our best to see if we can give you a little bit more action from the chase card from time to time. Here's Anton.
And that was right all the way. You can
Right
tell
on.
Anton is not feeling great right now.
immediately out of his hand. You could see that was pulled a little bit right. He was trying to will it into the basket and just not enough. Paul Ulibarri with a little work to do on this comebacker. As these guys tap in for their remaining shots, we've got Paul McBeth here on hole number 16 throwing his tee shot.
And that is right, but straightening out. Oh, that is nearly picture perfect. We got to see the other drives just a moment ago, but it's tough to tell where all of those have landed.
Well, here's hole number 12. What are we going to see?
Hole number 12 is our last hole before we cross the road to finish the final stretch of this course. It's playing as the 6th most difficult hole in the course with a 4.14 scoring average. Players going to want to try to play a hyzer or a straight shot to around where the drone is right now, or even a little bit closer to the OB stakes. The farther left they are, the more of an easy angle they have to attack the green, which is a bit of an elevated basket. And I feel like I've said this a million times. OB on the left, OB long, and OB right. Players who want to birdie this must get a bit aggressive off the tee and then throw a pinpoint second shot to approach this green. So far today, we've had 18% of the open field take birdie here. That's only 16 players carding birdie, more than half of the field taking par, and then a quarter of the field taking bogey or worse. We have 2 players, unfortunately, today taking triple plus.
Well, here we are. We've arrived at that moment where we now have one of our cameras over on hole number 16, another one of our cameras following the players over hole 12. And as much as we talk about getting additional camera coverage, we're still at one of those interesting crossword roads where everybody's walking. All 8 players are walking into position. So we're going to get back out with them as soon as we can. It looks like we're over here on hole number 16. This is Seppo from the right side of the fairway now that they've all gained their position. And we are going to get a clarification as to how a playoff would work. Typically, you go to hole number 1. However, there may have been something that was deemed differently for the World Championships. It may have been clarified earlier. We'll check in with UDisc. They're usually in the loop of all of that as they have to program for it accordingly. And
Barsby asking for his drive to go just a little bit. He's gotten a green flag, but he may be behind some trees there on the left side of the fairway. We switch back over to hole 16 where we see Matt Oram lining up his second after a beautiful drive. A little bit of bad footing, and he's turned that too much. It looks like he's settled in bounds. Yeah, he has landed safe, though he will not be birdieing from that position. Off screen, we see Ulibarri putting his drive in the fairway, albeit a bit on the right side. We'll catch back up with Josh Anthon, who is quick to fire his hyzer into the fairway. On the bottom of the screen, we see Nate Perkins checking his footing. Perkins with the hot round yesterday and just not quite finding his stride today. Conrad with a smooth hyzer into the fairway. And Perkins finding his way to probably around circle 2 with his second shot.
all right, I believe we have Paul McBeth moving up just a few feet from where we just saw Nate Perkins. We'll see if we can get into position.
All right, once again, I know that we've said if you haven't played this course, you don't know how difficult these holes are, but this drive is so perfect. It's honestly hard for me to imagine a shot going much better than this from the long tee. McBeth in perfect position, attacking the green, something extremely straight. That's fading out, and he is in a great position to take a birdie 3 here with Oram out of position for that birdie. Exactly. You see Seppo Payu lining up his third shot. His drive filtered a bit to the right side, and he was forced to pitch out just in front of this tee box. And that has too much turn for Seppo. He needs that to finish left hard. And it hasn't. He's going to be spotted much closer to the initial fairway than he'd like to be. Back in 12's fairway, we see Paul Ulibarri here lining up a huge anhyzer to reach the green. The angle on this is great from Ulibarri. He just needs the distance to carry. That's a big play for Ulibarri. Back on 16's fairway, we see that Matt Oram has in fact settled inbounds, although near the OB stakes. And that's a textbook approach. That'll net him a par on the ever difficult hole 16. Here we see Paul McBeth and Nate Perkins discussing where Seppo did in fact go out of bounds. Off screen, we've got Greg Barsby lining up his second shot. His drive pushed a little bit more left than he'd like to, and he's a bit behind the trees, obscured with an obscured angle to the basket. He leans into his shot, but it's just a bit low. He'll likely be taking a par from there. Move across the fairway to see James Conrad preparing for his second shot.
Conrad appears to have slipped, but I'm not sure it's going to affect the outcome in a negative way. Maybe just a bit short as he tries to get up near circle's edge. Nate Perkins now putting from about circle's edge here on hole number 16. And Perkins finds the bottom of the basket. McBeth had a short tap in. He's in on hole number 16 as he's at 38 under par and takes the easy birdie. Wow.
Oram tap in for par, and things are tightening up here at the World Championships, as if it hasn't been competitive enough already. We've got two competitors tied at the top. Greg Barsby, 39 under on the week through 11 holes, looking to probably take a par on hole 12. And then Matt Oram with 2 holes to play, also tied at 39 under par. We've got a charging Paul McBeth at 38 under, and then we've had a bit of separation from there as Josh Anthon has fallen to 35 under, shooting 2 under on today's round after a hot start, 5 for 5 birdies, taking 3 bogeys over the next 6 holes.
Well, one thing that we're going to see that is not all that common is we may have a leader or a clubhouse leader sitting in just waiting for the last few holes to play. So someone that's still out there, obviously our lead card in a Greg Barsby or whoever else who's charging, maybe it's an Anthon or a Ulibarri or whomever.
Oh my goodness, Greg Barsby. He said how confident he's felt in those, and he nearly drains that from over 100 feet.
Unbelievable. To complete the thought was,
that's right.
He may be able to say, oh, I can lay this up. I can take the 4. I could take a 5. Or maybe he'll know I need the birdie to win. Whatever happens, it's going to be interesting to find out that our leaders will know as they step onto that final hole. If the leader is even out on the course at that point. We hear of Macbeth coming just inside the circle here on hole number 17. Wow, it's almost impossible to keep up with everything that's going on. Matty O is in a tie for first right now.
Matty O's hyzer is looking really nice, rolling now away from the basket. That is headed toward OB. Oh, and it looks as if it's settled in bounds. Wow, that could have been a disaster.
Oh, what a break from Matty O. It ultimately does stop. A moment ago, Josh Anthon had just made his putt. We're back to James Conrad. I think I'm getting dizzy here, Robert.
Same here. This is more disc golf action than I'm used to.
Conrad, too much action. He's going to have to take another stroke and somehow comes up short on that one.
And this is just not James Conrad's day. He's had some great events this year, but has come up short today as he's sitting 2 over par through 12 holes. And Barsby, after an eventful upshot, we'll call it, is tapping in for a par. He will remain tied for the lead as he makes the long walk over toward 13. And this is one of the design aspects I kind of like about this course is the walk between 12 and 13 gives you a long time to think about what's coming up. There's a birdieable stretch right here with hole 13 measuring in at 350 feet. This is a right-hand hyzer that's playing as the 4th easiest hole on the course at a 2.55 scoring average. We've got a little more than half of the field taking birdie on this hole. There is OB long and right and a little bit of danger in the form of trees on the left, but most of our players today will be throwing either a fairway driver or kind of a backed off high-speed driver to skip in toward this basket. The danger really is going long, but most of our players are looking to take birdie here.
Looks like we're going to come back to hole number 17. They have a very lengthy walk, as you just referenced, as they move from 12 over to 13's tee. And it looks like we have Seppo here for his birdie putt on the downhill 17 from outside the circle, and he walks that one in. Confident stroke.
Huge putt by Seppo. Side note, I'm not paid by Seppo to say this. I like Seppo a lot. He is a stand-up individual and one of, like I said, I guess a few broadcasts ago, one of our longest disc golf distance throwers, like disc golf line distance throwers. Wide open field, I'm sure he's able to throw that far as well, but he can regularly be seen out throwing the likes of Eagles, Simon, Drew, Double G, guys like that. Just an elite distance guy, and good to see him putting well as well this week. And Matt Orm's drive after the unfortunate rollaway has settled outside circle 1. He's up on top near the basket. He's going to be taking a par here on hole 17.
So Orem remains in that tie for first place at 39 under par. Nate Perkins getting ready to putt. Some may say, who is Matt Orem? Matt Orem really busted out on the scene in terms of the national or worldwide scene. We watched him take second place at the 2005 Pro World Championships, where he tied Barry Schultz. Nate Doss taking in his first victory there, and Nate Perkins frustratingly stares that one down as he's not sure how it slipped through. So Matt Orem, no stranger to winning and performing well at big events, always finishing in the top 10 at the World.
Here's Macbeth in for the easy birdie. Why not have a 3-way tie at the top?
Why not? That makes things a little bit more interesting. So Macbeth pushes to 39 under par, along with Greg Barsby and Matt Orem. Orem and Macbeth could potentially be the world champions after they play hole 18 here outright if Greg Barsby were to struggle or to fall off. So as they move into hole number 18, they are knotted up. They're knotted up as well with Greg Barsby, but let's put it this way: if they are not tied at this point, one of them will be sitting down for sure later and not your world champion.
That's right.
We may see this playoff, but it's a matter of will it involve these two or it will involve one of these plus potentially a Greg Barsby.
Yeah, that's right. And for, like you said, for people who haven't heard of Matty O before, I think Matt and Greg seem like contemporaries to me. They're not really old guys. They've just been playing for a long time. Like you said, Matty O and Southern Nationals, Greg, all over California and now all over the world. And so seasoned competitors, guys who are used to being in those high pressure situations.
Well, Matty O has collected over 50 PDGA wins. He also is from Mobile, Alabama, where there's some great disc golf, but that's also what is deemed kind of Southern Nationals land. So although he has 51 PDGA wins, he probably has double that once you include all of his Southern National wins. So very exciting and a very well-experienced veteran player in Matty O. So we'll see how they finish out on 18. But first, we're with Josh Anthon. This is over on hole number 13, and I like how he's cleared the hillside.
But that's just a bit too far left off the tee. The best drives on this are ones coming in on hyzer that are pushing that telephone pole in the middle of the fairway and finishing left of it. You want to be left as you pass that. That's going to give you the best angle into the screen.
I have to say right now that regardless of what happens on 18 with Matty O along with Macbeth, Greg Barsby will have all of the knowledge that he needs for how to complete this round, and he will determine his own fate here.
This is a really good line from Barsby, finishing left, looking toward the basket. He's gotten a good amount of applause. I would bet that's around circle one's edge, maybe a little bit outside of there.
And our second camera is standing on the tee of hole number 18. It'll be just a moment before they're ready to throw. Meanwhile, we've got Paul Ulibarri here on hole 13. Paul Ulibarri trying to make me eat my words after I called him out of his run for the championship. That looked good, but maybe a little too left as well.
That's a bit too far left. He may have a look from over there. The distance isn't bad, but there may just be too many trees between himself and the basket. See James practicing for his shot on 13, but we're going to take a look at Macbeth on 18. The tournament rides on this drive, that is super duper high and
that needs to
possibly
sit down.
headed out of bounds.
Unbelievable. Paul Macbeth has just thrown out of bounds. I cannot believe the mistake by Paul Macbeth to throw OB on the final hole of regulation.
I mean, the play was the right idea. Throw something high that spikes in instead of having the potential to skip out of bounds. But Macbeth just didn't quite trust it out wide enough, and that unfortunately has gotten some ground action that's ended him up on the road and out of bounds. Seppo Payu with a towering hyzer. That's looking great to find the fairway. And that's what you're looking to do. Anything down by that tree in the middle gives you a shot to get up and down. We see Perkins trusting his disc out over the OB, and it appears he may have trusted it too much. That needs to finish hard left, and that's going to catch some trees.
Now Matty O needs to birdie this. Unbelievable. Matty O, the one mistake he cannot do here, though, is throw out of bounds.
Certainly not on the right side. If he throws out of bounds on the right, game's over.
And he's kept it low.
This is looking good. It just needs to carry. We've got the spotter going over
my
to check.
Goodness. Oh my
He's
goodness.
got the red flag. I cannot believe he is thrown out of bounds.
Matty O has thrown out of bounds on the right side. Nate Perkins opting just to re-tee, and this is a nearly perfect re-tee as we're cutting away to go over to James Conrad. Nate Perkins in the center of the fairway. Oh my goodness, my heart is just racing right now. Matty O is lining up. He's going to re-tee as well. At most, he would gain 30 or 40 feet if you were to move up because he never came back inbounds. So we're going to cut back to Matty O's tee shot. He could end all hopes of the tournament right here.
And this is a far better line from Matty O. This is looking to settle in the fairway. Wow. And that's beautifully done, but it's just one shot too late.
Wow. Right now, Greg Barsby remains in premier position to win his world championship here at Smuggler's Notch. Paul Ulibarri trying to capitalize on an outside the circle putt from 40 feet.
Yes, sir. We love seeing those from Ulibarri. One of my favorite competitors out on tour. Great step putter, like you said, along with Dickerson.
Oh, absolutely one of the best out there. One of my favorite guys. Paul Ulibarri sticking with it.
And now we've got Greg Barsby. And Greg's in an interesting position. Like you said, one that we haven't seen a whole lot because we don't often have clubhouse leaders like this. We usually have a final 9. Barsby's in the position where he controls his own destiny. So let's say he hits this putt and goes to 40 under par. If he pars out, he's our world champion. And Barsby just misses on the left side. He is still tied for the lead. He's going to be tapping in for par with Macbeth and Oram taking at least bogey, if not worse, on 18. But he does still have at least 2 difficult holes in front of him, holes 16 and 18 coming up, that can be absolute game changers.
Josh Anthon walks away with the par 3. Josh, after suffering 3 bogeys in 4 holes, ranging from 6 through 9, looks to be out of it at the moment. But again, anything can still happen. Now he's just a few strokes back. Barsby's tapping in. Josh remains at 36 under, and momentarily we have the other 3 players all tied at 39 under. But that's going to change right here because Paul Macbeth, along with Matt Oram, both throwing OB off their tee shots. Macbeth at best is hoping to get up and down and walk away with the par. Macbeth opts for the forehand, plays it wide. That's going to have to skip.
Big skip to the right. It's gotten that. I believe he's inside the circle, and that's a championship caliber shot. OB on the left side, trust your forehand out over it so that you can give yourself the best look to save your par. All that Macbeth can do now is make that putt and put the pressure on Barsby to not have any errant shots.
Nate Perkins had the great round yesterday, as we saw the negative 11 over at Brewster Ridge. He struggled here a little bit today.
He's taken something extremely overstable on Anheuser and trusted it on a flex. Wow, what a technical shot from Perkins, who's put himself right around Circle 1's edge. That's beautifully played. And here's Oram throwing his 4th. This line is great. Getting a little bit of extra action, though, unfortunately. That has cut and rolled out of bounds on the left. That will end Matty O's dream of becoming a world champion here in 2018. What an unfortunate break for Matty O on 18.
We're back with Paul Ulibarri.
This is a good line for Ulibarri. Missing the trees and settling up very close to the pin. These trees do have some rollaway danger if you hit them just wrong. So that's a great shot for Paul to get up inside the circle. You see Anthon hit one of those trees and catch a bit of edge. Still putting from there. And Barsby needs the cleanest 5 holes of golf he's ever played, starting right now, if he wants to clinch his world title. And I honestly really like this play from Greg. Don't test the OB on the right side. Just throw it up to the left. Make sure you're in bounds. Maybe you have a birdie putt, but you're definitely securing a par and not taking a stupid bogey. Or I guess maybe not stupid, but maybe an unlucky bogey.
James Conrad hanging it much wider, I think, as you were just talking about, instead of trying to play it out and risk anything. Conrad, on the other hand, plenty wide. He'll have an uphill putt as we're here on hole number 14. We're going to cut back over to Matty O, who is putting out on hole number 18. He hopes this is his last putt of the tournament, and that splashes out on the chains.
And that's going to be a triple bogey 7 for Matt Oram. That's a bitter end to a fantastic round for Matty O, and it's great to see him show up in these big settings like this.
And Nate Perkins is going to have one more toss before he's going to wrap up his Worlds attempt here. Paul McBeth trying to save par and remain, at least momentarily, in a tie for first place, as he sits at 39 under. I'm going to count that. Yes, Paul McBeth walks away with a par. So that's a good recovery. I mean,
yes.
After throwing OB, of course, that's the best you can hope for here, is to still walk away with the par. Paul McBeth probably not liking his chances, though, at the moment, as he sits at that 39 under, knowing that Greg Barsby has holes 15 through 18 to play yet. Correction, 14 through 18 to still finish.
That's a stretch where anything can happen, though. You know, I mean, McBeth is now forcing Barsby to collect a birdie on one of these and par the rest in order to become the world champion.
Barsby from way deep in circle 2.
Oh, and that's on edge.
And we did not see it come into camera view.
Looks like that sat down.
Wow.
We've seen, I was talking to Missy Gannon, one of our FPO competitors today, who found this gap that we're looking at right now and hit the top of the basket, and it rolled back behind her. Next putt hit the top of the basket and rolled back as well. So this green has extreme roll-away capabilities if hit in just the wrong way. So that's a good settle for Barsby to be able to still collect his par.
Josh Anthon not out of it. He can cash this birdie, and
Huge putt for Anthon. Wow.
So Josh Anthon moves to 37 under par. He picks up the stroke on Greg Barsby here on hole number 14. This is still anybody's game. With that putt, he pulls ahead of Matt Oram, so he's momentarily in third place, just 2 strokes off Barsby and McBeth. My goodness. James Conrad sits at +2 for the day. He has struggled as of late with his putter.
And Conrad just can't connect from an outstretched straddle position. That's going to leave him with a par, unfortunately.
And as if Paul Ulibarri heard me whispering in his ear that I was calling him out of this a few holes ago, he's lining up yet another birdie, and he cashes it in. Paul Ulibarri, 36 under par.
Ulibarri saying, you play to win the game. I love the fight in Ulibarri.
And Uli now sits just 3 strokes off the lead. He has battled back. Unbelievable. Let's take a quick look at what we're going to find on the new hole number 15. As soon as James Conrad putts out, here we are.
Hole 15 is another one of the new holes on this course, and these are the 2 most wooded holes that our competitors will play all day. This is 315 feet, the 8th most difficult hole on the course, coming in at a scoring average of 3.01, so basically even par. Players who have a proficient forehand are going to love that shape for this hole. It is slightly downhill, like I said, 315 feet, but plays more like 280. It's just really about hitting the initial gap and then letting something filter over to the right. We've got almost a quarter of the field taking birdie here, half the field taking par, and another quarter right around that bogey or worse area. You have to like Greg Barsby's chances here. He loves the forehand. He loves to lean on that. And I do think we'll see a forehand from Barsby here. And he's got, as we said before, he has his destiny in his hands at this point. If he takes just one birdie and pars out, he's going to beat Paul McBeth. We still have a couple of competitors in contention.
You said that a few minutes ago, but that's no longer true.
Right.
I mean, he beats Paul McBeth, but now...
Exactly. We've still got some people in it.
Exactly. He has to hold off Anton, and now he has to hold off Paul Ulibarri. What's going on?
Oh, man. I'm just like... I felt nervous when I was on the course, right? Because I was out walking with Paige Bierkes, Paige Pierce, two of our DD team players who I love both of those guys. And I was nervous for them at the time. I feel so much more nervous now sitting separated, and Ulibarri feels no nerves as he just about parks hole 15 here. He will not go down without a fight.
Oh, and here's Josh Anton. He needs this to stay clean. It's coming in at the pin. Oh, and Josh Anton inside the circle, looking at a birdie here, also on hole number 15. One throws, the other answers. What will Greg Barsby do? Are you kidding me? Oh, so much pressure. Greg Barsby sits at 39 under par. Hello and welcome, Paul McBeth and all of the other competitors that are now watching. And Greg Barsby pins it.
Barsby fillets the line.
Absolutely pumps it.
That is high pressure performance like we've never seen before from Greg Barsby. Huge shot to stake his claim on this world title. Wow, let's go, Greg.
Let's see if James Conrad can match it.
And what a beautiful shape from Conrad. Just a bit too straight, but he'll still be putting for 2 from inside circle 2.
Oh, and I love the shape of you. Let's check out Legacy Jess. James Conrad with a straddle putt. We'll see if he can dial it in for these last few holes. He's been challenged here today. Get up. Oh.
Just a bit short for Conrad. You see Anton stepping up to his putt, and I want to echo what Danovici has said on the board. He said, this is why we need Smashbox TV, live disc golf coming at you right now from the 2018 World Championships. If you haven't done it already, like and share this stream. We've got 9,300 viewers as it sits right now. We would love to see 10,000 in here. As we come into one of the most difficult stretches on the course, well, let's call it 2 really potentially swinging holes.
We'll see. I think Josh has this. Oh,
wow.
He does.
Huge connection for Anton as he's in for birdie. Wow.
Josh Anton is just trying to keep pace right now. He's going to move to that 38 under par. However, Greg Barsby is parked, as is Paul Ulibarri. I cannot imagine what these guys are feeling out there right now. What a show they're putting on for us. Thank you so much to our viewers. I have to agree. Thank you, Dana and others, for saying this is why we need live disc golf. If you are not entertained, I don't know what you're doing, but we're moving on to hole number 16.
Wow. Okay. Well, hole 16 is the third most difficult hole in the course today, playing at a scoring average of 4.3. This is an extremely demanding tee shot with jail on both the right and left sides of the fairway. There is a rock wall on the left side that over that plays is safe, whereas most places on the course it doesn't. Ideal tee shots land about where the drone is right now, even a little short of that tee pad, which measures 365 feet to the basket from there. Our competitors really need something to stay straight and even finish up on a little bit of the left side of the fairway so that they have better footing and a better angle into the green. This is by no means an easy birdie. It's going to take two extremely well executed shots to give our players a look at birdie 3 here. We haven't seen a ton of birdies today, with only 10% of the field taking birdie. 9 of our open players converting on the birdie today, with 58% taking par, and then a third of the field bogey or worse. This is one of those holes, along with 18, that has the potential for some big scoring swings. So if our competitors want to stay in this thing, they've got to step up and perform right now.
And we are back with our second camera. Chad had hustled back from 18. Now he's on the catch of 16. So we're returned to the initial 2-camera coverage.
Ulibarri's drive is standing up beautifully. Needs that to settle. He's driven it well into the spectators. They were not expecting that at all. Maybe a bit of an obscured lie as he looks to approach the green. And Anthon just pures the center of the fairway, needing that to get down. It's done so beautifully, and he'll likely have better footing than Ulibarri for his second.
He'll have great footing from there. Using that tee pad there as a reference point, if you're anywhere right on it or within 10 feet of it, you usually have really good footing.
Here's Barsby, and it is moving right. Oh, and what a fortunate kick back to the fairway.
Uncertain if that actually hit a tree or possibly a spectator.
But that's going to give Barsby a look. He's got to look. It's going to be a little over 400 feet, but he's got to look. James Conrad wasting little time and just putting a drive down the middle of the fairway, turning back and waving to the crowd to say, no, I got it. I got this.
Beautiful drive.
Each day that we're live broadcasting, we're going to be giving away over $500 in prizes. And all you need to do to be eligible is click the Super Chat button right beneath the chat. Every dollar you give to Smashbox TV will give you 1 entry into the drawing. So if you give $60, that's 60 entries. And we've got prizes from Black Ink Discs, Disc Golf Center, Infinite Discs, Keen Shoes, Dynamic Discs, Dude Clothing, Will Schustrick of Disc Golf Instruction. So join us on Smashbox TV's YouTube channel to be part of the broadcast.
Yuck. Looks like we're going to get the view from the basket perspective here from out in the fairway. Greg Barsby's going to try and throw through the opening. Wow, the amount of pressure on Greg Barsby right now to execute this shot.
This is clean over the OB, needing to move left. And Barsby has executed beautifully. He's going to be outside the circle, but considering where his drive landed, that is a great result for Barsby.
So Greg Barsby looking at about 40 feet to a relatively calm basket perched on top of the platform. First place payout here, along with the accolades, likely along with some form of signature series disc. First place this weekend, $10,000.
Wow. You think they'd be willing to give me just one of those $1,000? I mean, you did. All I need is the one. Yeah, thank you.
I mean, you did call.
Yeah.
You know, 3 out of the 5 days worth of coverage.
That's right. I'll negotiate that later on.
Here's Josh Anton looking to get even closer. I like the line. Does it have the power? Oh, it does.
He's inside the circle.
Josh Anton looking to push himself to 39 under par. Right now, Greg Barsby sits at 40. Macbeth sits at 39. Anton sits at 38.
I can't reiterate how much I love this because we haven't had a Worlds that was this closely contested in several years. We've had playoffs, but we've got several people who are vying for the win right now with just a few holes to play.
The last time we saw the playoff forced in 2014.
That's right.
That took place, of course, with Wysocki along with Paul Macbeth. And right now, anything could happen. We have the potential for a 2 or even 3-person playoff, depending what happens over these next 3 holes.
That's right. I know Conrad is a bit out of contention right now, but he just made this hole look like child's play. Just easy driver up the middle. It almost looked like a mid-range from there. Wow. Well done by James Conrad. Ulibarri being 3 shots off the lead. I'm saying that this has to be inside circle 2 in order for him to keep the championship dream alive. And he's got a difficult shot to get there.
You're about to get blasted for such an insightful comment there, Robert. But I think his biggest challenge here, as we're seeing, is his footwork. You clearly need power to be able to drive this green right now, and any kind of a standstill positioning, whether it's forehand or backhand, isn't going to give you enough power to get all the way into even, say, circle 2. So Yuli pinched up here on this left side. Yeah, it's just unfortunate. I really, if he does anything better than the par, it's because he's throwing a phenomenal shot that's almost magical. But it looks like he's got a mid or a putter right now.
Yeah.
And there you go.
You can't blame the guy. That's a really tough spot. But I like it. Let's just throw it in from here.
Yeah. I will go with that game plan, and I would be the first to say I'd love to see him throw it in from there. It's just with that footwork, unfortunately, he had to say, yeah, I'm not going to be able to get there. And rather than risk throwing something out of bounds or doing something else crazy, he makes the smart play, and he says, well, I'm going to have to walk away with a par. And wow, with over 10,000 live viewers, we thank each and every one of you for joining us here from Smashbox TV, Robert McCall, and myself, Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, along with our cameraman Rick and Chad and Johnny V and Gary O, bringing you the action. Throw it in, Yuli.
Ulibarri takes a regular old good approach instead of a throwing in it approach. He'll have that left for his par.
Wow, unbelievable as this gallery continues to move down this fairway.
Just an incredible day of disc golf, and I can't stress enough how much we want to thank you guys for tuning in. This is one of my favorite worlds that I've been to in recent memory, and just so tightly contested from beginning to end today, and so many storylines that have worked out, could have worked out in so many different ways.
It certainly could. What I don't understand yet is it's only in the mid to low 60s, but yet here I am sweating. I'm not sure what's happening.
Same here, my man.
Oh, huge putt for Greg Barsby. He's got about 40, maybe 42 feet to the basket on the platform. As you can see, very little to no wind for hole 16. Here's Greg Barsby for the birdie.
Oh, Barsby just low and right. He's still going to retain a one-stroke lead, but Anton still has this putt to get him one shot back. And that brings Anton.
Josh Anton answers.
Wow, just complete ice in his veins.
Unbelievable. Josh Anton answers with a birdie. Holy cow, what is going on? James Conrad giving a wave to the crowd. And Paul Ulibarri taps in for the par. Let's move over to hole number 17.
Well, I mean, whole previews seem so anticlimactic now. I want to see more action. Well, we're here on hole 17. This is the third easiest hole on the course, which is a break-in between two of the most difficult holes relative to par. Hole 17 is just a big right-hand, backhand hyzer for all of our competitors today. 400 feet, but plays more like 330, 340. It is easy to go a little bit too long if you don't choose the right stability, or even go long of the basket and left if you get the disc too high up in the air. Most of our competitors are wanting to take birdie here, as we see 64% of the field today taking birdie, a third of the field taking par, and only 5% bogey or worse. Wow. Wow.
It's almost hard to find the words with so much excitement going on. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for watching, smashing that like or that thumbs up or subscribing, doing all of the above. Please just go out and share it. You're watching what might be the last two holes of the World Championships here at Smuggler's Notch Resort. Terry Miller along with Robert McCall. Here is Josh Anton, hole 17.
This hyzer is looking pretty good. That's skipping down toward the basket. He needs it to settle. Oh my goodness, sit down. That has rolled out of bounds, and one of the worst turns of events that you could imagine. And Josh just puts his hands up in disbelief, and that's totally a fair response. How can you plan for that? Oh my goodness, how unlucky.
Josh Anton out of bounds here on hole 17's drive.
Conrad going just with an AVR on hyzer here, and this is tracking nicely. A little bit deep, but he'll be looking up for his birdie too. And all of a sudden, Ulibarri he's in this thing. Even with the par, if he goes birdie, he's going to tie Josh Anton as it sits right now. And Paul Macbeth.
Paul Ulibarri is going to need a little bit of help here, even if he does go birdie, and he's put himself right next to the basket.
And that's well executed by Ulibarri.
Absolutely not giving up is Paul Ulibarri.
Okay, Barsby, here we go. You can't shut the door here, but you can make it pretty hard for anyone else to open it with a nice, easy birdie. This height looks great from Barsby, tracking toward the basket. A little bit of edge, but that's inside the circle. Wow.
Greg Barsby in great position.
For me, it's time with my friends.
For me, it's a walk in the park.
For me, it's my job.
For me, it's fun.
My name's Cody Britton, and it's a hot one out here, which is perfect because we're going to be talking about the heat. One of the great things about the heat is it gives any skill level player the ability to get it up to speed, to get tremendous amounts of glide. The rim fits well in anyone's hand. So one of the things that I love about this disc is how easily I can throw a consistent anhyzer. You can even use it to throw manicured shots through the woods. It's just an all-around phenomenal disc. Check out the heat for yourself today. You can pick one up at discraft.com or your local retailer.
Wow, welcome back, everyone. Robert McCall and Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy. Josh Anthon, in this unbelievable turn of events, after battling so hard, it looks like his disc had caught edge and was rolling towards the out of bounds. And now he's left with a putt from somewhere around circle 2. Not that I have any doubt of his capabilities of still canning this, but he's going to need this putt to walk away with the par to at all remaining contention whatsoever here.
That's right. And just really unlucky. I saw a shot or two like this come into this green and just have the misfortune of catching an edge and rolling out of bounds. Not something you can plan for. It just stinks for Josh.
And he's certainly aggressive stroke.
As it needed to be.
Yeah, there was no holding back on that whatsoever. The worst thing you could have done is somehow come up short of that, and he wasn't. It looks like it was just off the mark as we were pushing into about 5:10 Eastern time for here at our World Championships. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Unbelievable what we are seeing here. James Conrad now is left with his putt for birdie. James Conrad is currently sitting in 8th place, and I'm going to guess that he picks things up here. The birdie on the previous hole. There it is. Center chains for Conrad with just 1 hole left to play. That's going to push him now into a tie for 7th place as he sits at 33 under par. He's currently tied with Cale Laviska. There it is. Paul Ulibarri fighting here. He's going to push himself to 38 under par. That's going to put him momentarily 2 behind the leader. Now, if Greg Barsby puts this in, that's going to put him to 41 under par, 2 strokes clear of Paul McBeth. And there it is. Unreal. Greg Barsby now just needs bogey or better to walk in the World Championships.
Hold up.
I'm kind of glad we haven't had the camera on the booth all the time because I've literally just been sitting here with my head in my hands, stressing about what's happening. Like, this is some of the most fun I've had watching disc golf.
And one of the best finishing holes in the sport. Hole 18, Robert, what do we see?
Hole 18 is our 4th most difficult hole today, 4.2 scoring average, and the potential for some really big numbers. Birdie is going to be at a premium here. You really just want to hang your hyzer out over the OB on the right side. The farther the better so that you can find the middle of this fairway. The closer you are to the OB stakes on the left is actually going to give you a better approach to the basket, or at least a better angle to the basket. But for being such thick grass, this usually skips out of bounds if you get really close. So our competitors really just want to find the middle of the fairway and then make do with their second shot.
And we're seeing a few handshakes and hugs. There's Alan Stewart from Wisconsin, who's been on the bag for the birthday boy and Paul Ulibarri this week. Alan, a caddy for many years. There's Greg Barsby getting ready. James Conrad, a little fist bump.
And as we've discussed, this is Greg Barsby's opportunity to show the world what he's made of. This is the most important drive of his career, bar none. And he's, I believe he's won maybe a Players' Cup or something like that, maybe a major before, but never a world title. Always one of the best players, a great guy out on tour. And he's got the opportunity right now to seal the World Championships with 1 throw. He's going to let James Conrad go first.
That's a good. That would be awfully polite of him. There's one mistake that Greg Barsby could really make here, and that would be to go OB to the right. OB to the left, really no big deal. Do not throw OB on the right side.
James is biting off a huge portion of distance on this hole. Wow, that is crushed. Once again, not James Conrad's best day, but that is an impressive shot.
Great effort by James Conrad, just a phenomenal player who really saw break onto the scene just 3 years ago for the Disc Golf Pro Tour. He's been on tour full-time ever since. and one of the nicest guys in the sport. And you could say the exact same here about Paul Ulibarri.
He needs that to settle. See, this is what we're talking about with that fairway. It's even if it hits almost the middle of the fairway, it's so easy for that disc to get up and go out of bounds. Extremely unlucky result for Paul Ulibarri there. I'm going to tell you right now that Greg Barsby is going to be your 2018 world champion.
There it is. That has sealed the deal.
That's trusting your angle out over the OB. He's landed his drive in bounds. He could throw jump putts up to the basket and clinch a world title.
Congratulations here to Greg Barsby, as so quickly Josh Anthon gets up and throws, and he finds himself in perfect position. And the crowd is going to move down the gallery, and we'll be able to get a pan, hopefully, of the entire gallery. Maybe catch up and see if Greg Barsby has any entertaining words to say. He's usually never short of words.
Yeah, that's one thing we know about Greg Barsby. As we walk down 18's fairway, we just want to take a second again to thank you guys so much for tuning in. This has been, I'll say it now, probably my favorite Worlds I've been a part of, especially with the action that we've seen on both the MPO and the FPO side. Once again, congratulations to Paige Bjerkus for becoming a one-time and now defending world champion. And I just want to thank you, Terry and Johnny, for all that you guys do for live disc golf and for allowing us to be able to be in this moment as it's happening. Thank you guys.
You're very welcome, and thank you for joining us. Greg's letting his hair down as he's working his headband there, and you hear a lot of cheering and applause as he's moving down the fairway. Greg pretty much keeping to himself, a few smiles, of course. There's a nice little thumbs up. Greg Barsby looking to seal the deal as a world champion disc golfer here at the 2018 PDGA Pro Worlds. Barsby has that two-stroke advantage over Paul McBeth right now, so he can take as much as a bogey and still walk away with the victory.
That's right.
That gives him, count them, 4 shots that he just needs to complete the remaining 250 feet in. I think he's got this.
I would actually really like the strategy of jump putting your way there, but I don't think he's going to do that for some reason. Ulibarri with a beautiful forehand, skipping just right of the basket.
And that comes to rest. What doesn't come to rest is our 11,000 viewers taking in the action. Thank you guys so much. We'll listen to a few deep breaths and jubilation here from Greg Barsby.
There you go, Greg. There you go.
Greg Barsby to the right of the pin. May or may not simply lay that up so that there's no chance of anything else crazy happening.
I'm telling you right now, I'm laying that putt up if I'm Greg Barsby.
Patrick Brown coming over. I see Louis Bitney. I see Nico LaCastro coming over. Everybody congratulating, giving him some hugs and some props. Josh Anthon trying to fight that one. It looks like he's going to come in bounds.
And as we walk down the fairway, we want to thank all of our sponsors for the event, as we've been showing some advertisements for them. We've got Innova sponsoring one of the courses, Discraft sponsoring the other ones. But personally, I want to thank Dynamic Discs for allowing me to be here and to be a part of the broadcast and just to experience this Worlds in person. So thank you, Jeremy. Thank you, Bobby, for all that you guys do. And if you haven't thrown our discs, you ought to try them out.
You certainly should. Thank you, Robert, along with Jeremy and everyone else. Greg Barsby's final few moments before becoming the world champion. And there's your current world champion for just a final few moments is Ricky Wysocki. After taking down the championships in 2016 and 2017. He will not repeat here again at Smuggler's Notch. And a travel buddy and a friend in Greg Barsby is going to take over the title. Here's Josh Anthon for what he hopes to be his final putt of the tournament. There it is. Josh Anthon, solid performance, coming up just short. And guess what? Josh Anthon, another second place.
Wow.
Macbeth with the hug and accolades as well.
with the fake putt. Barsby, well done, man.
Barsby, well played as always.
Always a character. Great to see him take his first world title home today.
And it's a hug by Drew Gibson, fellow California player. Yeah, there it is.
A great putt to finish the round for James Conrad.
Conrad finishes with the birdie and will finish in 6th place, tied with Seppo Payu.
And great showing for Paul Ulibarri this week. He's going to end up in solo 4th place, 5 under par on the day. The consummate professional. Great to see him play well this weekend.
Uli giving Barsby the hug.
Yeah, Greg!
Congratulations, Greg Barsby, your 2018 world champion.
Greg taking advantage of the structure under the basket to get a few more inches of height so more people can see his smiling face.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud to present Barsby 2018
As we see Ricky Wysocki.
Wow. Ricky Wysocki elevating him even higher up. Greg Barsby, 2018 world champion.
Let it go, Greg! Let it go, Greg!
Patrick Brown and others coming in, giving him additional hugs. There's Philo, who he's traveled with, battled with for so many years, along with Nico LaCastro. There's David Wiggins.
Congratulate our great winner.
Oh. Wow, what a moment. And Yuli says, let's get to business. We need to put
let's count these up so we can make this official.
Another good buddy and friend in Matt Bell getting in on the action. Don Smith from California.
I'm not that heavy. I got it.
Unbelievable.
See Bobby Music getting in there, giving us some appreciation.
Greg, look at the list.
Lewis Bitney. Looks like
This is a
KJ
playing
Nybo,
card
I believe,
moment.
as well.
Thank you.
Greg, congratulations, buddy.
Hey, come on, Laura. I gotta do this.
All right,
my turn to dream for guys. All right, now leave your scores
Any
first.
clarified?
Is it my turn? My turn, Greg? Are you ready?
There we go. TV! Yeah!
Zachariah Johnson. See Dan Nay, or correction, Dan Nye in there getting some photos. Check him out on Local Route Photography.
2 over, 3 over, 2 over, 3 over. Yeah, right, 2.
So they're going to do that stuff to add up some scorecards. Just quickly, I want to echo what you've been saying, which is thank you so much to everyone that has tuned in, that has supported Smashbox, whether you were super chatting or you were just following along quietly and professionally along with us on the board. If you're out there doing any UDisc live scoring, following along on UDisc, each and every one of you, we appreciate it. I want to thank Hannah Macbeth for joining me on the FPO side of things a little bit earlier. I believe we're going to catch up with Greg Barsby. He'll have an interview for us. I'm guessing he's going to maybe be talking to Steve Hill. Wow, my heart is still racing,
week, man.
and it's all done. It is completed, but my heart is still racing. Greg Barsby with a 2-stroke margin of victory over Paul Macbeth and Josh Anthon, and quite the efforts. Paul Macbeth clearly going out there playing like he wanted it today. Josh Anthon doing just the same. They're going to come up a little bit short. Interesting statistic in that Paul Macbeth has now finished second or better in the last 7 or 8 world championships.
It's pretty good.
Last 7 world championships. Yeah, so certainly a fight put up by Paul, just not enough for his teammate and Greg Barsby, who's also from California. So unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I have much more to say about it. This has just been such a great week. Let's shout out some great scores today. Paul Macbeth obviously shooting a bogey-free 9 under par. Great round out there at Fox Run Meadows. And then a couple of 10 under pars today from Kevin Jones and Cameron Colglazier, moving them up into a tie for 9th. That's a pretty nice round to hop up into the top 10 for those two. Again, we see Martin Hendel with an 8 under par.
We're going to cut over to Steve Hill. Sorry to cut you out. Here's Steve and Greg Barsby. In just a moment, it looks like we're coming at them. Here we go.
Champion Greg Barsby. Wow. Congratulations. Thanks. How does, I mean, it's been booming in here. How does it sound to you?
We got the best disc golf fans in the world. I don't think there's anybody that soaks up as much love as I got, man. It's so amazing to have not only the competitors, but all the fans that love the game. Just everybody pushing for me. I can really feel it today. It's finally happened. Hazard set in. Oh.
You needed that today a little bit. Start out a little rough, have some rough patches there in the middle. So what's the mentality there? Is that stretch you and Josh battling?
Oh man, Josh is such a clutch putter. You know, he was battling injury today, and he's, you know, I've played with Josh for 18 years. He's the best. You know, he's always the guy I match myself up against at home. So, you know, big hats off to him, James and Paul, just being awesome competitors. Obviously the other Paul, Matteo, all those guys. It was anybody's game today. It just worked out in my favor. I threw enough of them in bounds.
You told me the other day Worlds has kind of been your kryptonite in the past.
Yep. Finally got a great one.
What was different this week?
Finally got a great one. And I was hoping that my great one wouldn't be a second or third. I know a lot of great disc golfers that have gotten second or third place in this tournament, and they're not out here playing. So it's a big moment for my life and just, you know, my disc golf career and everything. Just really stoked.
I was gonna say you've been playing basically your whole life. What would you tell the kid who was playing the Motherlode Open and, you know, the Tahoe Tribune?
Don't worry, you'll be able to miss a few putts and still get it done. You'll throw it well enough to do it. Because typically, I feel like I'm a really solid putter, and I didn't putt to how I felt like I know I can today. But I threw enough of them in bounds. It was accurate enough. So that's what I'm always teaching whenever I'm teaching people or I'm working with people. So it really paid off this week for sure.
I think you got a lot of people who want to celebrate with you.
So. Yeah, Greg.
Awesome. Thank you guys.
You're awesome.
Yeah, buddy.
Barsby, go Barsby!
Well, and Greg Barsby giving us the what has to be the best moment in his career, obviously, taking down the World Championships. Congratulations to him as well. Congratulations to Paige Bjerkes, who we saw crowned just a few hours earlier. What an incredible day for us and for all of disc golf.
Yeah, once again, not much else to say, just what an incredible week out here at Vermont. Looking forward to Illinois next year, but for the time being, congratulations to Paige Bjerkes and Greg Barsby, 2 brand new world champions. Well-deserved, you guys. You earned it.
Very much so. Well, of course, this is the time we wrap everything up, and we have to thank you guys for tuning in. UDisc Live, you are such a tremendous asset to us and to the entire sport of disc golf. Thank you so much. We want to thank Jeff Spring, his entire staff and crew, everyone that made our experience here at Smuggler's Notch Resort possible, along with Josh, who was so crucial in helping us from the very first day, helping us out here. Thank you as we put everything together. I want to thank our sponsors and our supporters, both of the tournament and of our broadcast. And of course, that includes the Professional Disc Golf Association, along with Innova and Discraft, who were the presenting sponsors for here at the tournament. I got to thank Gary to the O and Johnny V back at home in the Milwaukee studios, switching the buttons, pressing all those other things that they do.
Is that what they do?
They do. It kind of looks like this. And most importantly, I think I have to go ahead and say, Rick Couchane, along with Chad Inman, you guys hustled around so hard this week to bring us 2 full rounds of coverage, live FPO, live MPO, and you guys are the real MVPs out here, and we appreciate all of your efforts. So for Hannah Macbeth earlier throughout this today and this week, we appreciate it. For Robert McCall, Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, we appreciate you guys being here for the 2018 PDGA Pro Worlds. We've got highlights to wrap up the show. We'll see you next time with our champions when you step inside the Smashbox. Hey, hold on. I was about to say or do something, but I didn't.